The last 8. Can Flamengo shock another European heavyweight and make it 2?
Continents collide, where football cultures fuse.
Bayern Munich have started the Club World Cup in style.
This Flamengo team, they just play the way that they play. They have so much belief.
The strike is gorgeous!
That's a nice delivery, brilliant goal. And it's Thomas Müller.
Wallace Jan equalises!
Oh, that's the moment they wanted! Bayern have been brutal. Oh, it might break here. It does!
Miami has been home to fans from around the world for 6 matches so far, and the Hard Rock is set for its penultimate match of this FIFA Club World Cup. Flamengo came to the USA leading the way in the Brazilian League, and they continued their form out there, topping Group D, which did include beating Chelsea along the way. Match in the round of 16. Flamengo, the current league leaders in Brazil, taking on the German champions Bayern Munich. Kickoff is just under an hour away in Miami. Yeah, really looking forward to this one. So good. I've got 3 guests here as well with me. Rafa Honigstein, Shay Given and Kleberson in the studio for this one. We also know now, Shay, don't we, just who the winner of this is going to face. It's going to be, I want to say, an exciting game against PSG, but pretty daunting for us to face them, I think.
Yeah, I think they got most of their work done first half today, took the foot off the pedal second half, PSG, and rested a few, took a few off. But I said to you before, Kelly, I think they're my favourites for the tournament. PSG, they've been brilliant, obviously, all the way through the Champions League final, and they've kept this going in this tournament as well. They had a bit of a blip, you know, with the 1-0 loss in the middle of the tournament, but I think that was just a day off at the office. But again, they showed their brilliance again. You know, there's such a strong team, so many great players. Every time a player flashes up, a close profile, go, well, he's a great player. And the next one flashes up, he's a great player. There's such a strong force, PSG.
And of course, Dembele coming on in that second half, Kleberson. A bit like their season, they grew into it over the course of their campaign. Do you feel like they're growing into this competition and going from strength to strength now?
I believe so. To have Dembele on the field, make a lot of stuff, no? The team can play a little bit better, no? PSG also play better, no? But have Dembele in the game makes a lot of easy for PSG, no?
Yeah, they could play better, but the fact that they're still winning when maybe they're not at their best says a lot. It is shaping up quite nicely now, though, isn't it? But when you're Bayern Munich looking at this, knowing that if you win today, Rafa, you're going to face PSG, maybe you'll look back on that final group game against Benfica, those changes that Vincent Kompany made, and look back a little ruefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's too late now to regret, but I think if Bayern do get knocked out either today or by PSG, then people will mention that Benfica game as one that could have avoided these type of opposition. Of course, you're going to have to beat decent opposition if you want to go deep in the competition, as Bayern want to do eventually anyway. But it is always nicer if you have an easier route, because bigger teams means perhaps more yellow cards, more suspensions coming on. You have to maybe play extra time because the opposition is really good. So I think they missed a trick there, and that's why I think the pressure is just on a little bit more as it otherwise would be today.
I was going to ask you, what is the feeling at Bayern Munich at the moment, given the first season that Vincent Kompany had winning the league, but it feels like as an outsider, they're just expected to win the league?
Yeah, I think the fact that they only finished third under Thomas Tuchel the season before made it slightly easier for Vincent Kompany, because winning the league back was seen as a genuine achievement. Otherwise, as you said, it would have been just, well, of course we win the league, what else? What else are we winning? So the fact also that he managed to reunite a dressing room that was a little bit fractured, a little bit fragile, mentally also not quite as resilient. So a lot of positives, but the Champions League, they fell short. Getting knocked out by Inter, they really wanted to get to the final. And if they were to fall short here or against PSG, it wouldn't be the kind of start that is expected of him.
OK, well, we'll talk more about Bayern Munich in depth later in the programme and, of course, Flamengo as well. But let's now head over to Florida and check in with our commentary team for the evening in the Hard Rock Stadium. Michael Brown is alongside Rich Wolfenden. Good evening, guys.
Evening, Kelly. Yeah, we are pitchside here in Miami, and it's an absolute scorcher. The team news is in, Michael. We've seen Flamengo before. We've seen them beat Chelsea in Philadelphia. And for you, who's the standout player in that attack today?
Well, they didn't disappoint in that game. Obviously, they were put under pressure, but the longer it went on, they grew into it. It was the captain, actually, Jerson, who was the leader. So he is the standout one. He's the one who grabs it in advanced positions. Obviously, tactically, you've got Jorginho sitting in the middle of the pitch with Eric as well. So I think that's really the hub. I think going forward from those midfield two, they start the supply line, Platter at the top of the pitch as well, needs to really contribute very, very early. Wesley down the right-hand side is going to be a key threat. Lots of eyes on him.
A lot of eyes as well on the central midfield of Jorginho, who's just slipped in to this side. He's fell into that team effortlessly, hasn't he, really?
Well, no doubt he can do, can't he? It's Jorginho, very comfortable. He obviously is the one to take. You need to stop him on the ball, but away from that, we go towards Bayern, and who've obviously gone with a very, very strong side.
And Bayern have made a handful of changes from the side. They were beaten by Benfica. Harry Kane comes back in. Is he there's so many star players, but is he the star player?
Yeah, I think you look right across the line. I think Harry Kane is the one who can lead it. Obviously, a more experienced back four is in place. The two in the middle, Goretzka and Kimmich with Elise. I think that's the one, really, is the one who can cause lots of problems. So Coleman, obviously down that left-hand side, is going to contribute, but it should be Bayern's day.
Brilliant. Cheers, Michael. Kick off in just under an hour, Kelly.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, really looking forward to that. When we take a look at those changes, we expected, didn't we, I think, Shay, both sides to make the changes. We saw Bayern make 7 for the last game. They've made 7 again. But as the guys identified there, they're bringing back the big guns, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, it's knockout football now. There's no room for error. There's no mistakes. Vincent Kompany has to go full strength, Kelly. He really does. And Michael mentions this about Harry Kane being the main player, but I really love Elise on the right-hand side. I think he's a fantastic talent. Obviously, we know him a wee bit in the Premier League at Crystal Palace, but I think he's gone up a level, both in the Champions League, both in the Bundesliga, and I think in this tournament as well. He's really lit it up. Rested for the last game, but I think if he plays well tonight, I think Bayern Munich play well. That's how important he is as a player. And of course, the other guy, Coleman's very fast on the other side of the wing as well. So. Yeah, the front 3-4 for Bayern Munich are very, very strong.
Do you agree with all of that, Rafa?
I hope so.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Rafa's basically marking your answer there.
It's also interesting that Bayern have brought in Stanisic as left-back. He is much better as a centre-back or right-footed player, but this is a more defensive lineup. They don't quite trust Guerrero on that left-hand side. And, of course, there's no Alphonso Davies. So this is really Vincent Kompany saying we have to tighten up at the back, because that's been Bayern's biggest problem at this competition and, of course, in the Champions League as well. 6
changes for Flamengo too. Was that the team you expected to see this evening?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think Flamengo, they played some couple games well, especially against PSG. But the one change, like Felipe Luis concerns about Arrascaeta. He doesn't change Arrascaeta because he's thinking about Bruno Henrique in the game, because Bruno Henrique in terms of pressing, and also to give it like a little bit more juice. It's a better from Flamengo. But he decided to stay with Arrascaeta because he's a more technical player. He can like give more dynamic for the team, especially on the final third. But I think Felipe Luis tried to make Flamengo a little bit more strong in terms to have the ball, to not let like Bayern has the ball.
So they want to try and have as much of the ball as they possibly can to stop Bayern hurting them. Well, we'll dive into some of those attacking threats a little bit more for Flamengo very shortly. But any match for Bayern could be the end of an era. Thomas Müller's 25-year association with Bayern Munich will end when their tournament ends, and he'll be hoping it can be with another piece of silverware.
That's a nice delivery, brilliant goal. And it's Thomas Müller. Well, there won't be many more of those in a Bayern Munich shirt.
Thomas, dann danke für die Zeit hier. Was macht Ihnen daran Spaß und wie hat sich diese Rolle über die Jahre verändert?
Ja, wenn du ganz jung ins Team kommst, dann hast du erstmal nicht den Anspruch, nicht die Kompetenz und auch gar nicht das Verlangen danach, irgendwie dich mit mehr zu beschäftigen als mit dir selbst, weil erstens mal musst du erstmal selber klarkommen in so einem Haifischbecken Profifußball beim FC Bayern. Da geht es erstmal um Leistung. ich habe natürlich schon immer auch eine Verantwortung dem Verein gegenüber und der Mannschaft. Und also nicht nur mir gegenüber, sondern auch des größeren Organigramms gegenüber gespürt.
Das Zepter, das müssen Sie ja dann noch irgendwie übergeben. Wer ist denn Ihr Sprachrohr-Nachfolger, der natürliche Erbe?
Es muss kein, also wie gesagt, jeder hat seine eigene Art, mit sich selbst umzugehen und auch mit anderen Menschen umzugehen. Und es heißt nicht, wie gesagt, wenn es jetzt das Geheimrezept wäre, dass meine Kommunikation immer zu Titeln führen würde, dann hätte man mehr gewonnen. Aber ich habe auch bei absoluten Nightmares mitgewirkt. WM 2018, weiß der Kuckuck was, bei Bayern haben wir auch schwierige Zeiten zwischendurch erlebt und da war ich auch mit dabei. Da war ich genauso kommunikativ. Wie gesagt, aktuell ist es auch so, dass der Trainer auch eine sehr starke Führungsrolle einnimmt, wirklich vorweggeht und da wird der Verein sicherlich Lösungen finden müssen.
Lobhudeleien, die emotionalen Worte kamen natürlich in letzter Zeit auch super viel und auch völlig zu Recht.
Ja,
von wem gab es die Worte, die Sie am meisten berührt haben und warum?
Ich bedanke mich auch natürlich bei allen, die sich gemeldet haben, die insgesamt ja auch, wo ich das Gefühl hatte, und ich hatte bei ganz vielen Menschen, die sich im Fußballgeschäft aufhalten, ob Fans oder auch Verantwortliche aus anderen Vereinen. Ich habe sehr, sehr viel Wertschätzung bekommen und das auch gespürt. Natürlich, ich hatte auch echt eine tolle Karriere, das muss man schon sagen. Das ist schon sehr, sehr gut gelaufen.
And it is the outgoing Thomas Müller that makes it a memorable day in Cincinnati.
Jetzt kommt mit dieser Kurve natürlich auch ein Ende Ihrer Zeit beim FC Bayern natürlich unweigerlich ein bisschen näher. Es gab viele letzte Male. Letztes Champions-League-Spiel, letztes Bundesligaspiel, letztes Heimspiel. Das ist dann aber endgültig. Macht es die Endgültigkeit noch mal emotionaler bei Ihnen?
Ja, aktuell spüre ich es noch gar nicht. Also ich bin voll irgendwie drin und es ist für mich völlig normal, hier zu sein und die Trainingseinheiten zu absolvieren und auch natürlich in Richtung Spiel zu arbeiten. Ich glaube, komisch wird es dann, wenn es wirklich vorbei ist, weil dann habe ich auf einmal keine Schedule mehr. Also da gibt es keinen Tagesplan, dem ich folge. Aber ich glaube, ich komme dann schon ganz gut.
Squad from
what was the result?
Rafa, play nice.
That's why they put me in the middle. Put me in the middle, keep these apart.
Yeah, it's tough for us. Yeah, but he's a top player. Imagine if Bayern has a player that guy on the bench for 2 days, he can join and give more a lot of quality on the team. That's incredible numbers.
I have been practicing my German, but Rafa has pointed out that I haven't yet nailed it because Thomas Müller is a player that it's quite hard to identify what is so special about him. What type of striker is he, other than the fact that he scores goals? There is a word in German that he used to describe himself, and I'm not going to embarrass myself on television and try and say it because you've said I can't say it. Tell me what the word is and tell me kind of how he describes himself.
Raumdeuter.
Yeah, I can't say it.
It translates as interpreter of space.
Yeah.
And it's a name he's given himself quite early on in his career, realizing that he's not really a centre forward, he's not really a number 10, he's somebody that goes where the spaces are. And he always had to rely on his intelligence because he's not particularly fast, he's not particularly technical, he's not particularly strong either. So everything had to be played up here a little bit faster than everyone else. And combined with his communication, because another nickname is Radio Müller, he's always broadcasting to his own players, ordering them around and triggering the press and so on. It's the intelligence and the attitude that's made him so successful.
You mentioned there his attitude and the way he kind of helps his teammates and stuff. It feels like, Shay, with him retiring, Leroy Sané's leaving as well, there's a bit of a changing of the guard at Bayern. How will they replace that?
Well, what strikes me as well, yes, you talk about the 33 titles and the games and the goals and stuff, but it's personality, you know, his personality on the pitch and his personality off the pitch, you know, what he brings to that changing room. It's very difficult to replace. It's a really good question, but it's a difficult answer because he said himself that there'll be own personalities. Vincent Kompany, I know really well, is a big personality, a big leader. and maybe he'll have to do even more next season. But there will be a void when he leaves the changing room at the end of this tournament. He's gone, never to be back. Be it like winding people up in the dressing room, playing tricks on people.
Do you play that role by any chance?
Not the odd time, but but that's part of football. And sometimes you're in a high pressurised situation, and Thomas Müller will say something or do something in the changing room, and everyone just laughs and takes the pressure. It just eases the pressure cooker sometimes. It'll be a big loss. But going back to Cleberson, what an incredible career. He's had absolutely very, very special career.
And of course, there could still be one very exciting chapter still to be written. Let's now head back out to Miami and join our reporter Anita Jones, who's joined by someone else who knows a thing or two about winning trophies.
Well, the atmosphere is building nicely here inside the Hard Rock Stadium of Miami. Of course, a stadium that Bayern Munich know well. They got that win over Boca Juniors. Sammy, let's talk about the starting 11. No surprises, Kompany made a lot of changes. One person is on the bench, Thomas Müller.
Yeah.
Should they not get the win today, it'd be the end of an era for him.
Absolutely, and I hope absolutely not just for me as a German, but generally for all football lovers who loves and support Bayern Munich. But Thomas Müller, he's a legend of the game, legend of Bayern Munich, of the German football, but he's an ambassador worldwide.
Yeah.
So he's not just amazing football or soccer player, even him as a person, always nice, next to the people, next to the crowd, and he support and transmit what really football means, and that's why hopefully that Thomas can continue with Bayern Munich in this tournament.
Yeah, that is not the end of his journey, and you can talk more about your former national teammate. I mentioned, of course, a lot of changes, 7.
Yeah.
People were a bit disappointed with the lineup and the performance against Benfica in that last group stage game, but who impressed you, or who has impressed you so far this tournament?
Well, in general, not just this tournament, even like the previous season, or like the season before, Michael Olise, because he came like from a smaller club and just such a big club as Bayern Munich, and he performed from day one. So even here in this tournament, his 1-on-1, his dynamic, trying to scoring goals, he's impressed me the most in this squad.
Yeah, of the few Bayern Munich fans that are in here, because it seems like a Flamengo home game here, they'll be happy to see the likes of Harry Kane and Michael Olise make that starting 11. Thank you so much, Sammy, for joining us.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Wow, brilliant to have Sami Khedira joining us there. Thank you very much to Anita. We'll be back with her very shortly, as she'll also be joined by the Portugal manager, Roberto Martinez. But for now, we're going to take a quick break, and after that, we'll be turning our attention to Flamengo.
Looks like Vitinha to deliver this one for PSG. Vitinha goes in towards the back post! And it's the Parisians that leads!
It's a brilliant free kick, but he's completely unmarked. João Neves, the smallest player on the pitch, and he's well onside. Comfortable header. Brilliant ball in from Vitinha.
PSG look to overlap here. Fabi Ruiz into João Neves. He could have been selfish, Fabi Ruiz, but he wasn't for his teammate. Look at the pressure, the hunting mentality from the Parisians. They've been ruthless so far. Just onside is the Spaniard. And it was all about that killer pass into João Neves, who's just bagged the brace. There's the overlap. Doué whips it across. And it goes from bad to worse. As much as Fabi Ruiz want to take the goal.
Well, he might be offside. No, he wasn't. It was the second phase of play, so he's onside. But again, the marking, 2 centre-backs are not checking their shoulders. They don't spot Fabi Ruiz. It might be an own goal in the end.
It looks as if it will go down as an own goal. Here's Barcola. Hakimi off the bar.
Look at the movement of Barcola, bottom right-hand side of the screen. He's well onside. Jordi Alba nowhere near spotting the run of the youngster. And then you're just relying on luck if you can try and survive, or can Astari find a save? He can't.
PSG on for 5. Barcola! Deflection out for a corner.
And that was a really important block that was put on. Barcola just taking the shot on.
Messi will try and drive this Inter Miami attack forward. Kramasic. Ball gets caught in his feet. Redondo, Kramasic interchange well. Overlap, there's Jordi Alba. Lofts it back for Messi.
Just couldn't find a corner there, Messi.
.co.uk.
Between Flamengo and Bayern now, with Flamengo arriving in the USA as the leading side in Brazil. The 2022 South American champions have not disappointed so far.
Brazilian powerhouse Flamengo meets Esperance de Tunis. Flamengo, Philadelphia, Luis Araujo with a stunning strike. Flamengo pick up their first Club World Cup victory.
Side sat top of the Brasileiro, Brazil's top domestic league, Flamengo. Chelsea won, Flamengo 0 in Philadelphia. Bruno Henrique! Listen to the noise. Flamengo have turned it around. It was rough, it was scrappy, but they've got their third. 3 big Brazilian points go the way of Flamengo.
It's LA. An LAFC lead. Wallace Yan equalises. Flamengo will march on out of the group stages.
It is Flamengo versus Bayern. A reminder, if you're just joining us, of the team news. Flamengo makes 6 changes. The headlines are that their captain Gerson is back, as is key midfielder Jorginho. As for Bayern, once again, Vincent Kompany makes 7 changes. The likes of Kane, Elise and Kimmich all returning to the starting 11. Let's now head back to Miami, though, and as promised earlier, Anita Jones is pitchside with the Portugal boss, Roberto Martinez.
Well, the stage is set here at the Hard Rock Stadium for the round of 16 between Brazilian team Flamengo and German team Bayern Munich. I'm joined by Roberto Martinez, the head coach of the Portuguese national football team. Roberto, it gets serious now. This is where we're going to see the spicy meetups. What have you made of the football and the tournament so far?
You're right, Anita. I think it's been a great start of the tournament. We knew that there was going to be a very competitive tournament, but I didn't expect to be that competitive. I think we've seen teams that they arrive in the middle of their season, and I think that allowed them to be ready in the first game. Yeah. We've seen other teams that they were at the start of their pre-season. If you want, it took a while to get probably at their best level, probably the second game, third game, and then it's been another group of teams with a new coach. And I think that's given an extra dimension as well. New teams that they're trying to come together, but you must pay credit that the way that the Brazilian team started this tournament. That's why this game against Bayern is so exciting.
South America against Europe, so much on the line. Two of the best teams from the respective federations. You mentioned that maybe the Brazilian teams have an edge because they're in the middle of their season. What have you made of Flamengo's journey so far? Because, of course, they had that overturn against Chelsea.
They did. I think Flamengo, they got this mixture of obviously all the qualities of Brazilian football. They know how to be solid, very compact. They got this central solidity in the middle of the two centre halves and the two midfielders. But then they got as well an experience, knowing the European football. You got players like Jorginho. Majority of the players they played in Europe, so they got this capacity of being very chameleonic depending who they play against. They are aggressive, they are competitive, but they're always ready to play against the European side. And then I would say as well, it's been very impressive the impact of the substitutions. The players from the bench for Flamengo always make an impact.
Yeah, so Brazilian teams, of course, leaning on some of their players that have played in Europe before. Kickoff is fast approaching here at the Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, it looks like once again the Flamengo fans are creating all of the atmosphere there. It looks brilliant, doesn't it, out there in Miami? It's not just the fans that are going to make a difference today. We've already seen so many times just how good they are on the pitch, mainly against Chelsea. That was when I think they really introduced themselves to the world into this competition, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe like a Flamengo against Chelsea, of course, against Bayern, they're not favorite team, you know? They take it out the pressure. They just want to play. You want to compete against those teams. They compete so well against Chelsea, and then now they try to repeat that. But they need to do a little bit more, like a little bit more better in terms of like defending, because Bayern is a little bit more danger. But the way the Flamengo try to get his goal, it's amazing because he always puts his team in the forward. You always have a players attacking really good, like Bruno Guimarães come for the bench, make a lot of stuff. We have the young guy score the goal. Is a good player. You know, we have Arrascaeta. He's not playing well, but he still produce so much on the game. Also, they have a lot of experienced players like Danilo, Alexandre going to be start the game today, and Felipe Luis he's a new manager, but he's doing good stuff with Flamengo.
Yeah, you mentioned experienced players there as well. Jorginho returning to the starting 11. Just how important is he to the way that this side function?
Yeah, I think the lad said before at the stadium he's settled in really well. You know, he's a brilliant player. We know him really, you know, from the Premier League. He's a player that's comfortable on the ball. Kelly, he knows where the spaces. You talked about Müller before. You know, he picks up brilliant spaces on the pitch, hard to pick up, and he's got a range of passes as well. And you know, if he can control the game tonight, then I think they've got a half a chance of doing well. You know, that midfield's very important. Him and Polgar next to it. I don't imagine they'll advance too far forward, but at the same time, I think the balance in midfield is key for them. I mean, going back to the Chelsea game as well, I think they were 2-1 up against Chelsea when Chelsea had 11 players as well. It wasn't like it was Jackson got sent off and they were lucky to get the result. They played really well against Chelsea and they deserved the victory.
Mentioning Jorginho there, Rafa, how important could he be, particularly with Harry Kane playing with the way he likes to drop deep?
Yeah, hugely important. I think he is very pressing resistant. Bayern tried to press high, but Jorginho can just move out of the press and play through that first line, and suddenly Bayern are chasing the game. That's why I think all the build-up will be through him. Bayern will try to press him as hard as possible, but he's technically very gifted and then have to fall back very quickly. So I think everything in terms of who dominates the ball, who dominates the pitch, will start and end with him. If he manages to have a bit of time, a bit of space, then Bayern will struggle, and vice versa.
The most disappointing thing about the answer is the fact that you were out of vision and you did a lovely little shimmy to kind of demonstrate how
I'll do it
Jorginho
again.
plays.
I'll do it again in vision later.
And just a quick word on defensively. Who's going to be key today? Because we know that Bayern have got so many attacking threats. Who's going to be the main man, kind of, do you feel like, for Flamengo in defence, organising that defence?
Yeah, I think like Leo Ortiz is the guy like can defend well. Leo Pereira also, that's the good defender from Flamengo. But one thing like a Flamengo like to play, it's get it forward.
Yeah.
The two fullbacks get it forward every time. Alessandro's come in the game just because he can hold a little bit. I think in terms of the build-up, you're going to be make 3 players on the back so you can have more guys to defending.
Yeah, well, we hope they go for it. We hope both teams go for it. It'll make a brilliant game, won't it? Well, it is time for us to take another break now. A kick-off fast approaching, just under half an hour to go until we head over to Miami. But when we come back, we'll turn our attention to the German champions. It is a big night for Vincent Kompany and his Bayern side. We'll get his pre-match thoughts after this short break.
Midnight proudly sponsors the FIFA Club World Cup on 5.
When you see the Ryobi cordless pole hedge trimmer next to a conventional hedge trimmer, it's a hedge of 2 halves. With a 4-position articulating head and an extension pole giving 2.9 metres extra reach, there's no need to set foot on a ladder. So next time the hedge needs trimming, ask yourself what side of the hedge you'd rather be on. Buy the Ryobi pole hedge trimmer with a 1+ battery and charger now for just £149.99, saving £80. Plus free safety glasses worth £13.99 at ryobitools.co.uk.
Wait.
Oh, your first Toyota. Big smile. Perfect.
What a whopper!
We'll just put a little bit here.
Chichester. Was it Doncaster?
Bayern Munich, serial winners of the Bundesliga.
Pass header and in. Come on. It is 4 for Bayern Munich. That's got to be the pick of the lot. Michael Elise. Here's Musiala. Brilliant. And there is Müller and there is 10. Double figures for Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich taking on Boca Juniors. Harry Kane gives Bayern Munich the lead. What a goal! That's the moment they wanted. It's 2 wins out of 2 for Bayern Munich. They're going through from the group stages. Bayern have been the top scoring team at this Club World Cup over the opening 2 games. What a finish! Sheldrup! Bayern Munich have been beaten by Benfica. Benfica 1, Bayern Munich 0.
Bayern Munich are back in Miami and arrive at the Hard Rock Stadium as the only side to win there in the Club World Cup so far. That was that hard-fought win over Boca, with the other 5 matches there finishing as draws. Here's a recap then of the team news. Both sides making a number of changes. Flamengo making 6. Experienced midfielder Jorginho returns. Schersten, the captain, is back. Wesley is also in at fullback. Bayern Munich make 7 changes. The headlines are that Kane, Elise and Kimmich all come back in after being rested for the final group game against Benfica. Let's now head back over to Miami again and join Anita and Roberto pitchside.
Well, not long to go until Flamengo take on Bayern Munich in this tasty round of 16 fixture. And with Roberto Martinez, Bayern had to contend with a loud South American contingency against Boca Juniors. Will that give them a bit of experience and, I guess, edge here, knowing what it's like?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I think when you are in a tournament, it's very important your experiences that you accumulate during the tournament. Now we're talking about Bayern with the 4th game. They already played here in the Hard Rock in Miami in a very demanding atmosphere because it was all a home crowd from the Boca Juniors fans. So today, Flamengo is not going to be anything different, even though I think the conditions are even lighter. I would say it's easier to play in these conditions. But what we've seen is that Vincent Kompany will carry on with the front 4 that he used against Boca Juniors, which I find really interesting because the movement, the understanding between the 3 number 10s behind Harry Kane was very, very good, especially Olise on the right-hand side. And I think today that combination of Lima and Olise will be crucial to break Flamengo down.
In terms of those attacking players for Bayern Munich, who will be under the most pressure today to try and show up? Because, of course, last time out, he made many changes. They fell second or fell short going through top of the group. So who is going to help them get over the line today?
I think that competitive nature that the dressing room has developed. We've seen teams that they got the starting line-up and that's what they use. We've seen other teams like Bayern, Man City, Juventus, that they are capable of doing 5, 6, 7 changes and the level is still very, very high. So I think that competition for places takes pressure away from the player from having to win. The player needs to concentrate to play and play well to stay in the team.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Roberto. Kick-off is fast approaching here. It's getting tense in here. We're looking forward to this one. Flamengo against Bayern Munich.
I just can't get over the noise in there already, particularly from the Flamengo fans. Thanks to Anita and to Roberto. It's interesting, Bayern Munich. I said it to you at the beginning of the show. From the outside, it looks like they're always expected to win the league. What did they come into the Club World Cup with expectations of? Was the emphasis on you're going there to win?
Yes, they have talked a lot about winning. They've talked a lot about the importance of not just the silverware, but also the financial incentive of going into this competition, going deep into the competition, especially with the Champions League being a bit of a disappointment. There was that extra bit of pressure on the team and on Vincent Kompany to go deep into this, and that's why now, having not really done their homework against Benfica, has put them in a slightly...
That's what it was. They didn't do the homework.
Well, they should have somehow found a draw, and it didn't. And now they have to pay the price, certainly when it comes to the difficulty of the opposition. If they were to get knocked out now or against PSG, then people would go back to that Benfica game and really say you only have yourself to blame by giving yourself such a difficult route into this tournament.
We're going to hear from Vincent Kompany in just a moment. Before we do, I'm just keen to get your thoughts on how he's been received out in Munich.
By and large, really well. Thomas Müller, we heard from earlier, said something really quite remarkable. He said, not since Pep Guardiola have we had a coach that got on with both the players and the whole club. There's usually always been some problem, either between the coach and the club or the coach and the team. And in this case, Company has handled all the politics beautifully, hasn't really gotten involved into any of the big debates that are always happening at Bayern, behind the scenes, managed the departure of Müller very, very well. It was quite a fraught subject in Munich, you know. Should Bayern have done that a little bit better, communicated better to him? He didn't feel happy that they didn't really give him a new contract. All these things Company has done really well. But that's only the basics. He also has to deliver internationally, because at Bayern, domestically, is taken as a given, more or less, and it's what you do in international arena is that defines you as a coach.
Yeah, it's a big old job, isn't it, when you're manager of Bayern. Let's now hear from the man in charge there. Here's Vincent Kompany. He's been speaking with Anita.
Vincent, we're here at the knockout stages. Let's start with your team news. 7 changes. I don't think it will be much of a surprise for many, given the result in that final group stage game. Harry Kane and Michael Olise make the start, but no Jamal Musiala. Is he still managing that knock?
Yeah, the changes are not because of the result. It's because we wanted the players fresh for this game. So, okay, now we're here and we have to be ready to perform. And for Jamal, it's still a little bit early, you know. I explained a few times to your colleagues, you have this reintegration of players who've been injured for a long time during the tournament. It's not easy, but it doesn't mean he can't have a big role. So we just have to be a little bit patient with that one. But the rest of the team is got to do the job then.
In terms of keeping players fresh, is that the same then for Thomas Müller, who drops to the bench for today?
No, I think it was a necessity. You know, we played in Charlotte. It was 38 degrees. It was probably one of the most extreme weather conditions you could ever face. They're human beings, so in the end we earned the right, because we qualified really early to think a little bit about the next stages. But obviously now it means nothing anymore. So now it's just about making sure that we perform on the day, and these guys are the best players to start, and the other players will have to finish the game.
In terms of you and your opposite number, Felipe Luis, you're both the youngest managers in the tournament. Yeah, nice that for you there. In terms of what he's done with Flamengo, reaching this stage, what have you made of their performance, and what kind of challenge are you expecting today?
The similarities in terms of, I think, how dominant they are at the moment in the Brazilian league, especially in terms of the content of the games. You know, when they press, there's not many teams getting out of it. When they have possession, there's not many teams able to really threaten them. And they've got players who can finish chances, and they defend the box really well. So, but from our side, we bring our own qualities to the game, and we'll be focusing on this. So we hope we can make it a very different game for them than what they're used to. And we're certainly ready for that type of game as well, where it's a real physical battle.
Best of luck today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, there are a number of members in the Michael Olise fan club. Shay Given, I think, is probably the self-appointed chairperson of him. You've wanted to talk about him for quite some time. You didn't get the opportunity to, because you didn't start against Benfica. What do you like about him?
Yeah, I just think he makes the game look easy. He really does, Kelly. You know, some players are really overthinking things, or concentration levels. Someone you don't coach, someone you just sort of let free, have the freedom of the pitch. I mean, that goal is special. One touch finish, just opened up. If he takes a touch there, Kelly, the chance gone. So he knows when to shoot, when to cross it. A brilliant assist again. He just, everything he does, he does brilliant. I mean, it's hard to say in a few sentences how good he is. Like, but this guy, for me, he's got the world at his feet. He really has. You know, he's playing at Bayern Munich, a massive club. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic club as well. But I think he could go again. I think he could move even again to Real Madrid or a Barcelona, and this guy supplying, you know, crosses for Harry Kane. He's not a bad goal scorer either to put the ball away.
Yeah, how impressed have you been with how he's kind of taken on that role as like a talisman for Bayern?
Yeah, he's a kind of player, like he creates not only goals for him but for another player. You know? When he's in the front, he can move, he can create some great stuff. He scored in the first game when they beat 10-0, but he come in later in the second game and he scored. He's a brilliant player, no? He's a really quality player.
The only thing I would say about Kane, sometimes he goes too deep. Rafa, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but sometimes he drops too deep. I don't think he has to be that deep, because Bayern have got so many good players.
Isn't that something that people have always said about him? They say it when he plays for England as well.
Yeah, true. But do you not think he can be more central as a more focal point? Sometimes he drops very deep, I think.
Yeah, I think he does it well.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I just think when sometimes it goes wide, he's not where I want him.
I totally get your point, but the depth, if you will, is supposed to come from the flanks.
Yeah.
And he takes away often centre-backs into midfield and creating that
Yeah,
space
true.
behind him. But I just want to make a quick point about Bayern's defence, if I can.
Yeah, of course.
This is a back four that's never played together. So that's already not good. For such
Good for Flamengo.
For such a key game. Jonathan Tah is obviously a new player. He's still learning how to play with his Bayern players. And they haven't got a left-footed player in the whole back four. Another problem.
Okay, well, that's good insight as well. Well, the stage is set, and what's a setting? The Hard Rock Stadium hosts its biggest game of the World Cup. A reminder that the only team who have won there so far are Bayern Munich when they beat Boca Juniors. So can they do it again tonight? It is the fourth round of 16 fixture, of this Club World Cup. A place in the quarterfinals against PSG is at stake. It promises to be some nights in Florida, and kickoff is coming up after this short break. It is Flamengo against Bayern Munich on the DAZN.
Day 15 of the FIFA Club World Cup in the USA. We've reached the knockout stages. The Bank of America Stadium, home of the Carolina Panthers. But today it hosts an all-European last 16 tie. Benfica of Portugal against England's Chelsea. Well, Benfica make 2 changes from their last game. The impressive win over Bayern Munich. Unchanged keeper and defence that kept a clean sheet against Harry Kane and co. Fiorentino Luis comes back into the midfield. Orkan Kökçü is given a deserved start behind the 30 goals for the campaign striker Vangelis Pavlidis. Amongst the substitutes, Andrea Belotti available again, having served his suspension for a red card against Boca Juniors. Now Chelsea, they make 7 alterations from the team that started their closing group match against the Tunisian side Esperance. The only ones to keep their places are defender Badiashile, midfielders Lavia and Enzo, and also the striker Liam Delap, who should be brimming with confidence after scoring his first goal for Chelsea last time out. Pedro Neto played under the Benfica boss Bruno Lage at Wolverhampton Wanderers in the past. Chelsea immediately trying to exploit the pace of Pedro Neto. Up against him, Samuel Dahl. Neto gets the first shot in anger of this last 16 game in Charlotte, and we haven't played a minute yet. Fiorentino ran into trouble there in the shape of Mario Lavia. Here is Liam Delap. Tried to cut it back for Palmer. Cucurella, patience, tried to pick his spot. And the celebrations from Antonio Silva as he saves it on the goal line.
Brilliant defending. He senses the danger, realises his team might be in trouble, gets back on the goal line. Brilliant header and anticipation from Antonio Silva.
Cucurella, who has scored 7 goals from left back for Chelsea this season. All 7 have come at home at Stamford Bridge. For a moment there, he thought he was going to open the scoring today. Here's Lavia. Delap. Down he goes. No free kick for Chelsea. Antonio Silva's tackle. We saw in the opening game of the group for Benfica when they took on Boca Juniors, they are well able to match the physical stuff. Osnas trying to keep tabs on Cole Palmer. That clipped the outside of the post, I think.
This is a chance early. It's Pedro Neto coming inside. He fakes to go to the far post and reverses it to Delap at the near post. Brilliant run from Delap. And watch this, Antonio Silva realises the problem might be that far post. Gets onto the goal line, heads it away and celebrates like he scored a goal.
I think there should be more of this in football. Defender celebrations.
This is it. Oh, it's another great save. Strong hand, trying to sneak in at the near post at the last last minute. Another top save from Trubin.
Casado, we just hesitated for a moment. Barrero was in to unsettle him. Lavia keeps it moving here, though. This is Marc Cucurella. Trubin to the rescue again. He spread his body so wide there. And the outstretched right arm denying Marc Cucurella.
Again, it's that strong right arm which keeps Cucurella out. Again, looking to go near post.
Benfica get Angel Di Maria involved in this a little bit more. Antonio Silva. Barrero for Orsnes. I'll tell you what, Sanchez had come off his goal line there expecting a cross, and he very quickly had to retreat back to the goal line. So Cruzeiro fan there in the crowd. Such a huge presence of Brazilians at this FIFA Club World Cup tournament in the United States. Every city we've been in, we've seen a huge number of Brazilians proudly wearing their colours. More free kicks, more yellow cards. This time Fiorentino Luis. The angle is tight here, but Anatoly Trubin has erected a two-man wall nevertheless. One good delivery, one well-timed leap, and it could be a breakthrough. Reece James tries to catch him out, and he does! Trubin erected the wall, but he didn't get the right planning permission. Reece James gives Chelsea the lead in Charlotte in the last 16 of the Club World Cup. And this tight, cagey game finally gets the breakthrough.
Absolutely brilliant from Reece James to have the bravery to do that, and then the quality and the pace to pull it off. See it from the goalkeeper's angle, it has to be inch perfect. It absolutely is from Reece James. The quality he has in his right foot deceives Trubin.
Turquoise blue.
Very
stripped today. As the Flamengo players are the first to arrive on the pitch here at the Hard Rock Stadium. Well, they won't be the favourites for this one, but then again, they weren't the favourites to win Group D, and they only went and did it. They're by far and away the most popular team in the stadium, as the stands are full of black and red jerseys. There's a huge Brazilian population in Miami, and it feels as if they're all inside the Hard Rock. 2 wins and a draw in the group will have them believing this afternoon, especially that win against Chelsea. Well, are you ready to join the fan zone? Test your sport knowledge, support your team and interact with fans around the world. Just search for DAZN.com/fanzone or open the DAZN app and jump into the action. Well, in that game against Chelsea, they didn't see much of the ball. In a fiery second half, they found 3 goals and ultimately a win that would decide the group. Today, though, they come up against a completely different beast. And Michael, you'd expect them to be on the back foot a fair bit in this game.
Yes, you'd expect that, that's for certain, but you know they've got a real determination about them. They don't give up at any point, but I think what we did see in some of the games, the second half performances, how they grew, how they improved, how they put pressure on, whether that's because of the climate, the situation where they're in, but you know, I do think even with that sort of quality will struggle to come through with the opposition of Bayern because of how their organisation, the determination and the real quality they have. So that's what's going to be tough to go again. I mean, we know what awaits the winner. Some might be slightly frightened to actually go on and take the win, but no, I do feel like it's going to be a really difficult situation.
Yeah, they will be. The bookies' favourites will Bayern Munich for this one, as the side in white this afternoon emerged from the corner of the pitch here in the Hard Rock Stadium. Bundesliga champions Bayern Munich already know what it takes to beat a side from South America. They were the first European side to earn victory against a side from the continent in this tournament, as they beat Boca Juniors of Argentina here in their second group game. They have the names, they have the manager, but do they have the nous that Chelsea didn't have in Philadelphia? After dropping some of his stars in the defeat against Benfica, Company isn't going to allow Flamengo any favours this afternoon. He had to bring the big names back in, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got to. I think you look at the top of the pitch, Coleman, Elise, obviously this is the guys in the studio. There's a supply line to Kane, but in the middle of the pitch as well for me. Goretzka and Kimmich have that control, they're going to hold the ball. It's a real, obviously, back line as well that are going to be hard to beat. I just think that's the base, that's the platform that the manager sort of expects. You know he does leave little to chance. He's so a determined person, he doesn't like to lose, and he will be saying yes, he's got to look after the players, but he will know and expect a real dominating performance from his side.
Well, Chelsea expected to dominate and didn't manage to do so. Bayern Munich, a different beast, that's for sure. Well, they're excited. It's a lovely Sunday afternoon, nearly 4 o'clock local time in Miami, as we get a look at our favourite camera angle. Don't think it'll be too long until we're seeing that in the Premier League and international football. Well, there's the Flamengo team. They named 6 changes this afternoon from the side that drew with LAFC last week. Rossi continues in goal for Flamengo, just like he has all tournament. In defence, Leo Pereira returns at centre-back. Wesley's back in at right-back. Jorginho and Eric Pulgar return in midfield. They started in that famous win over Chelsea. In attack, Araujo, Gerson, Diarascaeta and Gonzalo Plata complete the 11 for Flamengo. Well, Bayern, they named 7 changes from the side beaten by Benfica. Captain Manuel Neuer continues in goal. In front of him, a back 4, of which Lima and Tart return. Goretzka and Kimmich are the midfield 2. In attack, Kingsley Coman and Michael Elise return to the 11. To support Serge Gnabry as Harry Kane leads the Bayern Munich attack this afternoon. As we get a look at the video assistant referees, as we're only a few minutes away from kickoff here in Miami.
I'm Kevin Hart. I'm Kevin Hart. I'm Kevin Hart, and I love acting. But I love Royal Kingdom. That's why I started the Kevin Hart School of Acting Like Kevin Hart. Stay on that side. Stay on that side. So more people can actually take my roles and I can play more Royal Kingdom. It's no ads.
It's no ads.
And you don't need Wi-Fi.
And you don't need Wi-Fi.
No, that's what I'm telling you. They made a lot of progress to get me my Royal Kingdom time. And I think they're ready. Well, my name isn't Kevin Hart. I'm finally living my dream.
Experience amazing before you arrive. Lexus NX plug-in hybrid.
And welcome back to the Hard Rock Stadium. Flamengo taking on Bayern Munich here in this round of 16 game. We've already seen PSG beat Inter Miami. Whoever wins this will be taking on the European champions in Atlanta next weekend. He's the man to look out for in black and white. Georgian Diarascaeta. As we ready ourselves for the big countdown. Flamengo boss Felipe Luis said pre-match we'll impose our rhythm on this Bayern side as the samba sound of Rio face up against the Umpar of Bavaria and Bayern Munich. Ready for more drama in the Miami Heat. We just saw favourites PSG dominate their game against Inter Miami. Do you think Bayern will do the same this afternoon, Michael Brown?
Well, not so necessarily to the level of what we've seen. That domination in the second half, didn't need to do anything, but they're going to have to be ready for a first half of control, because the second half they know they will still be put up against it. So they're going to have to score, they're going to have to get some possession and try and control the momentum of the game.
As Konrad Laimer rather inadvertently sticks the ball out for a throw-in early doors for Bayern Munich. That only encouraged the Flamengo support away to the left behind Agustin Rossi's goal. It's Harry Kane as an early tester. Tottenham against Arsenal back in the day. It's going to be interesting to see how Jorginho's experience of playing against teams at this kind of level rubs off on the rest of the players around him. As the ball's out wide, it's a heavy touch. Stanisic didn't quite bring it under control. Wesley was there to intercept, and Flamengo will have to retreat.
Yeah, quite
first corner of the game.
Quite aggressive, wasn't it, from Wesley? Getting across, realises to make sure he's under pressure. Now a key moment, you're seeing those white shirts on the edge of the area, just gathering, wondering where this set piece will go. What's in around the goalkeeper.
Joshua Kimmich across to take it, not quite in the quadrant. Sure a few Brazilian eyes spotted that. Kimmich with the corner for Bayern Munich. To loop him on towards the back post. It's a good hand by Agustin Rossi. It had to be. And the referee stopping play at the moment, I think because it hit the one stray balloon on the pitch. You don't see that too often. That takes my memory back to one specific moment in Premier League history. I don't know if it does for you.
Yeah, there is a moment, but yeah, good save. And as it's hit the ball, the referee's decided to step in. I thought he might have just let it go, but...
Did it really change the direction of the ball? It wasn't quite Darren Bent against Liverpool.
Yes, which game are we going on about? I mean, we go on and you see this sort of thing happen, but from now it's back in play. It's moving the ball around, it's high line, and trying to press early, and then go.
Out wide with Elise. Faced with the experienced Alexandro. Gives it away to Wesley, but that's loose from the Flamengo defender. Half an opportunity for Bayern Munich, but Coman was asking for a little bit too much of himself there. Going into a dead end surrounded by black and white shirts, and now maybe Flamengo can come away with it. Jorginho. Bayern slipping back into their defensive shape as Upamecano steps into the midfield. And was all a little bit too relaxed by Gerson. Stanisic. Opts for the long ball forward. Well, as I mentioned, pre-kick-off, they said they were going to play at their own pace, their own speed, and I think they tried to do that against Chelsea. As a terrible giveaway at the back for Flamengo. Elise inside as the shot comes in and bobbles wide via a deflection. Not his finest strike, but a decent chance nonetheless. Joshua Kimmich with the hit.
Yeah, the goalkeeper, not sure what he's doing there. He's trying to play out quickly, but he gets to the edge of the area, just pulls it, doesn't he? It's not a great strike, but you can't make mistakes like that when you're split, when you're open. You've got a front line that you're trying to clip it into. The goalkeeper needs to do better. He's under pressure, wasn't he, from the first moment? And, yeah, but they're going to do it again.
Well, you can just see from the pictures how packed the end away to our left is with Flamengo supporters. Might be a rare Spurs supporter there as well. Who he's supporting. Corner again for Bayern Munich. Kimmich to take. In towards the near post this time, and he'll go behind for another corner. I think Rossi actually did get the last touch. He's asking for the free kick. He didn't get it. There's a man down in the penalty area as well. This will give us a better idea. He might have actually come off Upamecano last, but corner the decision.
There's a few little pushes, wasn't there? If we could just put it on that area again. I think that's that floater. The goalkeeper doesn't like the attention around him.
Third corner of the game already for Bayern Munich. 5 minutes played. 0-0 here in Miami. Kimmich once again. Looks to put it on the goalkeeper, and it goes in for an own goal. Disaster in the middle for Bayern Munich with their third corner. It's lucky number 3 as Bayern Munich take the lead here in Miami. Well, there's no real celebration from those in white, which would suggest that the last touch did come off a Flamengo player.
Yeah, you put it in the areas, you see they were nervous, they couldn't really deal with the situation, but on the last touch, it's about the delivery, the quality in and around. The goalkeeper's too interested in the contact rather than where the flight of the ball is, and when you get caught up in that, you just see in that position, he's nowhere near it, he's underneath it. It's really poor, and then it comes about first contact, who can get it? And when you do that, you've got to make sure you're heading it away from goal, and it's a real disappointing one from Flamenco's point of view. But the goalkeeper, from a deflection, yes, he's gone right past him at that far corner, got no one on the back post, but poor to give away.
Yeah, Eric Pulgar with the mistake, but Flamengo looking to right that mistake. Wesley plays it forward. That's clever from Plata. He'll cut it back. There's the header. Irascaeta was the man arriving. He's asking for a corner. He's not going to get it, but Flamengo showing that they're not going to just sit back. They're going to fight their way back into this game, and they nearly found an equaliser.
Yeah, they did. Good run, good cross. Had no right to get it in from that angle, but the effort was always going over.
I think Leon Goretzka being there did just enough to take the attention away from the cross perhaps, and maybe lost a little bit of his confidence going for that ball with his head.
I think look at it now, it's given them a real lift, hasn't it? Bayern Munich, they step forward, they've got the lead. They won't want to just wait and delay, open up the body and start getting into wider positions, but you can't concede goals like this at this level, these tournaments.
Manuel Neuer, excellent ball out to the left-hand side, but could ask a little bit too much of Josip Stanisic, but the umpire band beating the Samba group as it stands. And giving it away once more. Forward for Elise by Stanisic, not his finest pass. Poked away by Pulgar. Irascaeta, that's clever, doesn't quite fall into the path of Luis Araujo. Gerson, around the corner, Irascaeta gets away from Upamecano, but the cover's there from Konrad Laimer. Well, Michael Oliver has decided that is a foul on Harry Kane. He is one of the best in the world at just coming deep, winning a free kick and taking the pressure off, isn't he?
Well, I understand that, but I don't think he needs to come all the way there. I think he turned into trouble, 3 around him. Yes, he managed to get the free kick, but first thing, stay away slightly, drop at the right time.
Here's Elise. Brilliantly controlled. A couple of step overs, back for Serge Gnabry, but couldn't find his teammate. That's a good tackle as Upamecano steps forward. It's Harry Kane on his left foot! And he's found the back of the net via the post! What a hit from Harry Kane! He strikes a chord in the Hard Rock. High fives all around. But that was simply quite brilliant by Harry Kane. And Bayern Munich, inside 10 minutes, lead Flamengo by 2-0.
Oh, it's a brilliant strike. It's all about pressing, not giving any room to your opponents. And that's what they did. They initially got really tight, forced them into traps, and then from there on, a nice little tackle. Then once it gets into Kane, I think we mentioned it just before, didn't we, about him getting into areas, but it's this moment here, that tackle round the corner, and then as he gets out of his feet, I think it's underneath him, but if anybody can, Harry Kane with that lovely strike. He just says he sees the goal, he knows where, just drifts it. It's a bit of fortune into that near post. He'll take it. Again, Harry Kane leads the line, and this is a huge start to the game.
A 40th goal of the season for Harry Kane. What a milestone to hit. And it's put Vincent Kompany's side in cruise control with 10 minutes on the clock. And as it stands, Bayern Munich will be playing PSG in the quarter-final next weekend. Well, where does Flamengo go from here?
I think you've gone early with that, haven't you? You've gone early, say, shall we, what's going to be next for Bayern Munich? We're only 10 minutes in. I understand why you've gone with that. We have to give respect and realise, but it is a huge task. It can't really be on the back foot so early. But you give room to Kane. You know, you just know he's in and around it. He will create something.
Well, so far in the round of 16 ties, the teams that have scored first, Palmeiras, Chelsea and PSG, have all gone on to progress.
I think you look, Vincent Kompany's set up, they've all gone tight, even 2 for 2 there, where the ball's struck out. He says, no, you're going to have to deal with it as a defender. That's what he's done all the way through his career. He might go, all right, I'll take him, you take the other. No problem, you've got to be able to do it if we're going to try and put pressure on, win the game early. Like I mentioned about getting it done in the first half, and haven't they done just that?
We have to say there was a little deflection off of Leo Ortiz, but to still dig out that power and that direction with his left foot.
Yeah, it was under him, wasn't it? But now they just look like they've got a real spring in the step coming forward. With tempo, they know they've got to keep going.
And Stanisic progresses forward, but gives it to Coman, and it's slowed down in midfield. No need to press, no need to gamble. Upamecano plays the safe ball back to Manuel Neuer, standing a good 20 yards outside his penalty area, which we've become very much accustomed to. That's a good ball by Stanisic into the feet of Elise. Rides one challenge from Pulgar. Look towards the referee, Michael Oliver. Thought he might have got a free kick there, Elise, but he just glides, doesn't he, when he gets the ball at his feet. Alexandro down the line to Luis Araujo. I don't think, apart from maybe the first minute, Flamengo have had a touch of the ball in an attacking area. Bayern Munich trying to suffocate the Brazilian side just by keeping them in their own half of the pitch. Tar. Now Stanisic. Now we'll go behind for a goal kick. As the big man's here, shirt and tie in this humid weather. I'm sure there might be a little blower underneath that desk perhaps to keep him cool. Is that Frank Ribery next to him as well?
It certainly looks like that to me. But you know, Bayern, I can't tell you how quick, how aggressive they've been, good in possession, running in behind.
Speaking of running behind, there's Kingsley Coman, but Wesley just about had the pace to keep up with Coman. As Ortiz shows a clever bit of footwork to get away from the Bayern Munich winger. That's well won by Plata. As the Flamengo support make a little bit of noise for the first time in a long time. Plata looks for his teammate Kjærson, his captain, can't find him. Just surrounded by white shirts once again. Bayern Munich snuffing out the opportunity very early on before anything can develop. Oof, need to be careful there, Leo Ortiz gets the free kick. And Flamengo can have a moment just to catch their breath.
Yeah, they need it. That's what they've done. Bayern, they just said, well, okay, Tar will stay with Plata, 1 for 1. The rest, Upamecano goes tight, everybody just locking on. And that, they've not been able to deal with the Flamengo because the intensity of it. As soon as the ball goes back, they're on top of it. This Bayern team, and it's an excellent start and very brave from the manager.
And when they have the ball in the Bayern half, there's very little to do, although they do have space here. Wesley miscues his cross, but finds a teammate. Anyway, De Escaeta across to Luis Araujo. What a save by Manuel Neuer. He can't have seen that until late. A brilliant save from the Bayern Munich captain. Made himself big, kept his clean sheet intact, although the shot comes in again and will deflect behind for a corner. But Manuel Neuer, we've seen him do that for years at Bayern Munich, and he still got it.
Yeah, he just does well to get something on this, doesn't he? It's such a good save. You don't see him behind you. Araujo just gets that strike, he sort of jumps up, he thinks it's going away. It's a brilliant save that. When you get another look at it, it's not just his body, it's that right hand. You see the joy
seeing from his teammates what it means and how big a save it was.
That scream from Joshua Kimmich tells you the full story. Got some defending to do here, though. 15 minutes on the clock. Flamengo corner, it's glanced on, and they're asking for a handball. They're not going to get it yet. The VAR team, of course, will take a look at it. Space out on the right-hand side for Luis Araujo. Can he find a cross? Towards the back post it goes. The header's won. Flag stays down, but the referee's left hand goes up. As Bayern Munich get a free kick for a push in the back, and now the check will go on for potential handball. Let's have a look. Well, Harry Kane is the man in question, and he has his right arm, you can see, right against his chest. I'd be very surprised to see the VAR overturns that decision. Murray will go forward, header intercepted by Pulgar. Well, it seems to have been the right choice, resting all those players for the Benfica game, because they've got plenty of energy here in Miami. The 7 new faces that have come into the Bayern Munich side today. They played in that extreme heat against Benfica, where it reached almost 37 degrees centigrade. Not too far away in Orlando. Not too far away from Miami, that is.
Kane's causing them problems, isn't he? Because they want to go tight. Just leaving the 2 fullbacks with a 1v1. And that's the last 2, really, that you want. Coleman and Elise saying, OK, then, we'll have a go. Once that build-up comes and we can beat that first trap, we've just got to be careful here.
It's risky again at the back, but you don't get your rewards without a bit of gambling. As Gnabry knocks it out wide to Elise. Numbers coming back in black and red as Elise skips inside and is taken down. Luis Araujo showing a little bit of that South American spirit. Saw plenty of fight about them in the Chelsea game that we watched. Didn't see too much of Luis Araujo in terms of footballing abilities in that match. First game of the group, got an assist and a quite brilliant goal against Esperance de Tunis. I'm sure his manager, Felipe Luis, will appreciate these cheap free kicks though.
Here we go again, set pieces. Can they deal with it? Where's the direction? Got it right around the back post. Possible 1v1, but I think we'll just float it in.
All those at the back post running to the mix. Kimmich plays it out wide to Elise. One-on-one with Luis Araujo. Tries to find a better angle. Finds it towards the back post. It's nodded away. Good leap and good header by Wesley, the right back. It's Bayern Munich. Start again. Konrad Laimer back to Joshua Kimmich. Got to be careful with the Arrascaeta there. Elise dispossessed by Luis Araujo. And I think we're starting to see the first little 1v1 in this match work out between those two down the Flamengo left-hand side.
Bayern have took chances, you know. They've played the ball even when they've been under pressure. That's the demands of the manager. Deal with it. Keep doing it. So he's given the licence to have that responsibility, but you've got to be tight. You've got to deal with it. He's a run. It's a deep one.
It's a good run in behind from Gerson. He's only got Platter in the middle and he won't find his man. Because Jonathan Tah is across to knock it behind for another Flamengo corner. He stepped into this team so confidently as Jonathan Tah. He said pre-match that Bayern Munich need to adapt to the South American mentality to match their intensity, and they've more than matched it in this first 20 minutes or so.
He started really well.
Corner Flamengo. The Arrascaeta to take in towards the near post. It will come all the way through. There was a little touch in there, but Bayern can bring it away. Elise's making the furthest run. Coman reluctant to make the pass. Now the cavalry arrive. Laimer skips inside. And it's missed by Wesley. Coman, one-on-one with the Flamengo fullback. Has he got the pace to get away with him? He doesn't quite. Corner for Bayern. It's really open, this game.
Yeah, it is. That's what you want. See Kingsley Coman, really intelligent as he pushes the ball out to the right-hand side, gets it back, and then he wants to show what he can do. 1v1 situation, pushes the line, but Wesley in a good area, carries with it, deflects it wide. What do you do again now? Do you get some protection around the goalkeeper for Bayern? Do you do the same again? I think we know where it should go, right on top of him, and see if he can deal with this one.
Can they find the back of the net from the set piece once more, Bayern Munich? Joshua Kimmich stands over it again, towards that near post area. It's glanced on. Escaeta plays it back. Alexandro absolutely thumps it away. Gretzko wins the header in midfield. Now Alexandro. Well, we've seen the benefit of the cooling breaks for a tactical reshuffle in a handful of games, and you feel like Flamengo may need one as they come forward here. Pulgar away from Kimmich. Luis Araujo looks for Diras Gaeta. Can't find his man. Alexandro too slow. Harry Kane's there. Coleman's ended up on the floor in a little tussle with Wesley. Noted by the referee. Neuer. Smart first touch to just open up a little bit of space in his 6-yard box. Ortiz will play it to Wesley. Bayern Munich just keeps stepping up and keeps stepping up that defensive line. It gets higher and higher. As Flamengo go deeper and deeper, but Gerson's got it here, and he's got support out on the left-hand side. It's asking a lot of Diras Gaeta. He has it though. Gerson needs movement, faced with a white Bavarian wall. Jorginho. Eric Pulgar. Onto Leo Ortiz. Bayern desperate not to drop into their penalty area defensively. As the shot comes in from range, and it was a hopeful hit by Leo Pereira. Well, it was a decent attempt. It kind of opened up for him, but it was a very optimistic strike, to say the least.
Optimistic. It comes right back into the goalkeeper's hands. It bounced off the Ordens behind. He spots it, tries to play it really quick. Bayern Munich players are thinking, no, thank you, we'll take a rest. We don't need to run any more in behind.
Well, Manchester City are back in action tomorrow night on the DAZN app as they take on Saudi side Al Hilal for a place in the quarterfinals, live from Orlando. Not too far away from here, where the score is Flamengo 0, Bayern Munich 2. An early own goal and deflected Harry Kane's strike is what separates the Brazilian side and the German side. The drums are still going though in that Flamengo end.
I think this tells you now, when they're in this position, how high Bayern are. The press is all set, waiting. It's extremely aggressive in their press. And the freedom to go on, but they can't find a way out. Here we go.
As Araujo loses it, and Lima's there with a hit. Bounced up in front of him, didn't connect with it sweetly, but over and over again, Flamengo keep getting sucked in to that Bayern Munich trap.
Well, they're going to have to play out, aren't they? They're going to have to go maybe into the 9. You can see Jonathan Tah's got that 1v1. He's got it on lockdown, so he's saying, go on, play it. They're frightened to do it. And then the shape and the distances of Bayern's press is perfect. And then off they go as soon as the short ball goes. And then you can see they get something on the back of it.
So you can see how hot the supporters are in here as the players take a cooling break in the Hard Rock Stadium. Well, the cooling break in the game against Benfica, Harry Kane was so hot he dunked his whole head inside one of the ice buckets at the side of the pitch. Well, I think this cooling break probably benefits Flamengo more than it does Bayern Munich. Well, let's take a look at the goals. Eric Pulgar, the unfortunate man, to glance that on. But this tackle from Upamecano, it's an assist and a tackle in one.
Well, it is, because he realises he can take the chance. Kane gets out of his feet. We just see there that deflection that just takes it away from the goalkeeper. But Kane sees the goal. He knows exactly, gets it into the areas. He thinks that's well on the way, but now an opportunity for Flamengo to try and understand what they can do differently, what they can to find an answer. It's been a disastrous start for them. For Vincent Kompany and Bayern, it's like continue with the same.
Well, they went behind against Chelsea and they turned it around there, and it was simply the momentum that blew away Chelsea in that game. So if they can build up a little bit of momentum in this one, you never know. Well, away from the football, Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois again face off in a major heavyweight rematch for the undisputed heavyweight title in London on July 19th. One you can't afford to miss. I wonder if anyone's told him what's happened to Lionel Messi. Well, I'm not sure if there's an issue here with Michael Oliver's officiating equipment. Looks as if there might be a quick battery change for the Premier League referee. I can't understand why they couldn't have done this at the beginning of the cooling break.
Can't believe the technology is going wrong. The sound happens to everybody, I think. Must be the heat.
Happens to the best of us. There's a fresh pair of Duracells make their way down to the technical area. Well, they may have made it look easy with the two early goals by Munich, but you've got to remember Flamengo qualified as group winners. They're currently top of the Brasileiro, which has been temporarily paused for the FIFA Club World Cup.
He has been comfortable though. I think when you score goals, I think straight away the tempo, the momentum shifts, and the game plan is just continue. But what they've done straight away is pressed, really organised, and you can look at obviously touches of the ball. The possession has been far greater for this Bayern side, and still waiting on Michael Oliver to sort his technical issues out. But you can see on the pitch, the Bayern players are sat exactly again waiting for the press. What can they do different? Why are they still playing into the hands? Goalkeeper's not setting this one off. He's just going to leave it. And then once he plays into the middle of the pitch, it's really heavy on white shirts.
Bit of footwear change as well. As we get another look at the unbelievable venue of the Hard Rock Stadium.
I think we've been spoilt for stadiums, haven't we? And obviously personnel.
Is that your old boss sat in the stands?
That's the old gaffer. Managed to see him beforehand. He was still telling me off before we started, you know, usual stuff. But no, good to see him. He's obviously putting in all his plans. Very prepared for what he wants to do going forward, and an extremely successful manager. That's and will continue. But that's the start. You don't deal with set pieces early. Things happen. You lose the ball in the middle. You've been punished very quickly.
I wonder what Roberto Martinez learned from half-time team talks with Michael Brown that he can rub off on Cristiano Ronaldo.
What goes in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. Don't say too much there.
So they say. As they're back underway here at the Hard Rock Stadium, Michael Oliver has his ref cam batteries replaced. So I can only presume is what they were. Half an hour played here in Miami. Flamengo 0, Bayern Munich 2. They will be progressing to play PSG next weekend. In the quarter-final in Atlanta, this Flamengo turn it around just like they did against Chelsea last week in Philadelphia. Fiorascaeta loops it in towards the back post. Where's the second ball going to fall to? Chance on the edge of the box. There's the strike. Lots of power in it. Bodies in the way, though, for Bayern Munich. Luis Araujo can't get away from Kingsley Coman. Good defending that from the Bayern winger, helping out his defence. As Harry Kane puts his foot through it. Alexandro, good touch to take it away from Elise. Jorginho, Gerson. That's the former Arsenal man. Alexandro now. On his own. On that far side, needs help. Jorginho's there. Crosses one in. Comes into the middle. There's the effort. Luis Araujo didn't quite have it under control. It's maybe a little bit too high for him, but half a chance for Flamengo there, you know.
The ball comes in early. Good touch. Doesn't sit. Strikes it near post. It's going wide, but I think initially the ball might have been meant for that late run of Wesley on the right-hand side. He does all right to get something from that.
Well, I mentioned that he scored in that win against Esperance in the first group game for Flamengo, but he also scored 2 goals in the final league game before the Club World Cup in the Brasileiro. Just like finding the back of the net as Flamengo's number 7, as Bayern Munich just giving away a few little cheap free kicks. Jonathan Tart getting a little bit too carried away. Here's Ortiz. Now Pulgar. Pereira. Out wide to Alexandro. Luis Araujo in low. Fiorascaeta cuts it back. Banged into the net. Gerson is there. And the Flamengo captain drags the Brazilian side straight back into it. And that is the definition of emphatic. What a moment for Gerson. Flamengo 1, Bayern Munich 2.
We talked about it, didn't we, in the build-up, who's the dangerous players, and he was the one against Chelsea who led, really lead his performance about dragging his team back into games, arriving in areas with quality. And it's here now. It's a wonderful strike, real momentum and power. It's clean as it gets, right through the goalkeeper. It's game on now.
Oh, Manuel Neuer, he's got cat-like reactions, but even the quickest cat in Europe couldn't say that. What a strike by Gerson. Well, he was in the Brasileiro, the Brazilian League Team of the Year last season. And he's had some time in Europe as well, playing for Marseille. He's got some talent and some left foot, it would seem. Here come Bayern Munich, though, looking to rediscover that comfortable 2-goal lead. Here's Ortiz, and that's woken up the Flamengo supporters inside the Hard Rock.
That's it. They're going wild here in the stadium. Great to see so many of them here. I feel like there's a chance now as they progress. It's been a lift.
Fiorascaeta through the legs of the referee Michael Oliver. Luis Araujo gets away from Elise, but there's Konrad Laimer, very Stanisic. Over the top by Goretzka, sees the running behind of Coman. Keeps it in. Looks for support. Kimmich's there. Who's down though? Luis Araujo. Not allowing him any space at all. Laimer. Elise. Flamengo supporters vent their frustration at not having the ball. Tart. Stanisic. Coman. Gerson comes across. Serge Gnabry, not seen too much of him in this first half.
I agree, he's congested in the middle though, but he's got to get on it.
Man, still not good enough for West Bromwich Albion. Here's Elise. Lima hangs on up towards the back post. It's a good punch away by Rossi. As the volley comes in, Gnabry's there. It's scrappy. And just scrappy enough for Flamengo to clear it. And now the counter's on. They're out their seats in front of us. But on his own, it's the Arrascaeta, and he may have been able to get away from Upamecano, but couldn't get away from Josip Stanisic.
Arrascaeta is the one as well who can make this team tick. The one we look really in the middle, isn't there? The two sort of central midfield players with the license to do things haven't got involved in the game for both teams.
That's nice by Stanisic. Puts his foot down, bursts away from a couple of Flamengo players. Now Kimmich. Lima to Elise. Kimmich across to Stanisic. Koeman up against Gerson. Deeper into the penalty area, looking for Gnabry. It's a heavy fall for Joshua Kimmich as Plata tries to bring it under control and does so. Up against Lima and Jonathan Tah. Plata asking where the support is.
So look at the right hand side. Gerson's, he's on his heels, he's done a few of them. Wesley's finally trying to get out, but that was the ball. They could have had that slide out, that was the counter they needed, but unfortunately they've been put under pressure, so they build, they wait. Now, what can they do with it? They put Bayern on the back foot.
I'm not sure if Gerson's moving too freely. Looks like he might have a little bit of a knock, maybe.
I think he's just done a few up and downs as well. And here he is.
Gerson pushing the back from Leon Goretzka, who pulls the Flamengo goal scorer to the turf in the centre circle. And they gave away a few of those cheap fouls by Munich in the build-up to the Flamengo goal. Maybe just a sign they're not in control as much as they'd like to be.
Well, when you're pressing, but again, you've got to be braver on the ball, and when you are under that pressure, can you take it? Can you get an extra touch? That's what they've done different.
Plata loses out once the free kick, doesn't get it. Serge Gnabry, Kingsley Coman, Kane's waiting in the middle. Coman can't get away from his man. Jorginho's there. Goretzka. Now Josip Stanisic. Kimmich. Plata comes through the back of Joshua Kimmich. And he protested the decision, but I think it came through the legs of Joshua Kimmich.
Now, what I'm saying is there's a foul, but what they're saying is just let it carry on, let it roll one more, and then see if it's going anywhere. But Michael Oliver, who really generally likes to let it play, then they try to play it quickly again. He said, no, let's spot it, let's wait. I think let's keep it flowing if they want to do it. So if they want to, some company will be asking that question.
Very central free kick. Are they going to try something fancy? Looks like it. Kimmich. Out to Coman. This is a better angle. Great cross in, headed away by Pereira. Lima. Now Elise gets away from Luis Araujo. Crosses it into the middle. Header over the crossbar. It's Upamecano who was in there. I'm not sure whether he judged his run to perfection.
It's a good switch of play. They tried to go short and ball's coming in, and once it's circulated out that far side, good delivery. Upamecano trying to do something aerially, but look at it again, this press. They don't really know fully what they're doing. That's something they're going to have to get right and get better.
Stanisic and Gerson fighting for possession. Given away cheaply by Di Arrascaeta. Coman. Harry Kane. Serge Gnabry in his way. Lima now. Lifts the venture forward. And into the penalty area. Lima, the cover's there though. Had to be. Might be open here. And it's 3 from range. Leon Goretzka. Well, he saw the avenue and he threaded it right down it. Agustin Rossi unsighted. And not long before half-time, Bayern Munich have their 2-goal cushion back, much to the despair of those Flamengo supporters. For those Bayern supporters, the trip to Miami is looking well worth it.
Well, just see they try to clear it away, but his touch is good. He's all the time, and it's don't watch the eyes. He swung it really late, goalkeeper flat-footed because that late reverse. Goretzka, because he can line it up for such a long period of time, he spins it late. He knows he's got the goalkeeper, he knows it's there very, very quickly. Really good quality from the midfielder. And that's the difference when you have quality players in areas like this. They do tend to shine through.
Well, there's been a lot of discussion as the first yellow card of the day was raised by Michael Oliver. Harry Kane gets a thump. Eric Pulgar is the man who is now in the notebook. Owners together as well between Jonathan Tah and I think, is it Gonzalo Plata? Was it Fierson?
Yes, Plata. Do you know why it's a bad foul? I think that's what they're asking. He catches him late. Excellence really, because so Kane pulls it out and turns and gets away, and it's a late one because of them conceding another one. And then those pushes, it's quite aggressive, but I do have slight concerns here for Harry Kane first and foremost.
Well, Eric Pulgar, the man who made that tackle, he's run away to the Flamengo technical area to get some, let's call it, inverted commas, treatment. It's a bit of spray on his boot. I'm sure that'll...
He might hurt himself, you know. He might hurt himself when he catches him with a late one like that. You can sometimes hurt your own foot, and he might have just done that. And really, you do have a bad foul. Just have a little look here, look. Oof, yeah. It's a very, very naughty foul. And, you know, when you do things like that, there's maybe a little bit of karma when you do come off worse for it.
Let's have a look at the yellow card. Is that for Jonathan Tah? It is. Gonzalo Plata also in the referee's notebook as the tackles start to fly in here in Miami.
That's just pushing of each other, isn't it? So I think that's just a bit of competitiveness. The referee decides it's too much for his liking. Who's coming across now? Michael Oliver having a look. The situation is, but it's not ideal, is it? The two of them. And a bit of a push and shove on the pitch, and we need to get the game moving.
Or rather unnecessary. Harry Pulgar is down on the deck. There's no VAR check going on. So presumably when Pulgar is back on his feet, will be back underway. Harry Kane seems to be okay.
He's just looking down at his socks, isn't he? Just having a little adjustment around his knee. You don't need that at this stage, and just opened up that gap now. But as I mentioned before, when you make a challenge like that, sometimes you do come out worse for it, and that's how it's looking.
Well, I'm not quite sure what the Miami equivalent of the St. John's ambulance is, but they're out to treat Eric Pulgar as we get a look at Leon Goretzka's strike. I think he used about 3 or 4 black and red shirts in front of him to disguise the strike.
He had enough time though. That was the point. Poor clearance. And just set it up. Just a word now from Michael Oliver to Harry Kane as we see the stretcher come on, but it was extremely close to the technical area that they've used that option, but they must think there is a problem enough, maybe a small little crack on his foot stroke ankle. They're protecting him.
There's Alan, another midfielder, comes on in replacement of Eric Pulgar. 8 minutes of injury time added on. Here come Bayern. Koeman into the mix and into the hands of the goalkeeper Rossi. Well, 8's gone up. Be interested to see if we do play that 8. Alan might be a familiar name to few Liverpool supporters. Joined back in 2015, never played under Jurgen Klopp, couldn't sort out a work permit for him. Had 6 loan spells away from the Merseyside club. Played his football in Finland, in Belgium, in Germany, Cyprus, and played for Fluminense, as well as Flamengo in Brazil. He's going to get half and a bit of football against Bayern Munich. As Mike Oliver pulls that back for an earlier foul. Well, given the feistiness of the Chelsea game, those players on a yellow card could kick off a similar sort of occasion once more. They'll want to stay far away from incidents not too dissimilar. Oh, and here's Wesley, lovely 1-2 with Gonzalo Plata. Can't return it though, flips off Sitch's ankle. Kimmich is the latest to get a shove in the back. Welcome to the game, Alan.
Straight in, tight, aggressive press. You don't need to be on a yellow card so quickly. I just want to say I've done that so many times where you feel like I'm going to just work my way into the game and you make a challenge really quickly and then you're thinking, why did I do that? I've got such a long time and can't get as tight. You know, we just got a little bit disjointed. It's really a nothing foul, really.
Still protests it.
Michael Oliver just trying to stamp authority on the game now, just to try and stop it getting out of control.
When you're on the bench though, and hang on there, I'm sure that was the intended destination of that passport. Manages to find Upamecano. Elise centrally. Goretzka towards Kingsley Coman. Stanisic back into Coman's path. Given away. Goretzka, Tar, Kane. Seems to be moving freely after that tackle from Pulgar.
Some great combinations here. Just in and around people. Awareness, checking shoulders, moving it. Gives and go, and this is a really, really good move. This can end on something. They decide just to wait and take the momentum out of it yet again.
Here's Lima. Back for Upamecano. Goretzka to Coman. Bayern Munich playing the game just how they want to play it here in Miami. Flamengo 1, Bayern Munich 3. Halfway through the 8 minutes of additional time. Kimmich, Kane, can't find Gnabry, that was the target. Rascaeta surrounded by those in white. That's nice from Harry Kane. Lima leaves it. Gnabry back to Lima, out-muscled importantly by Alexandro. Well, we saw him venture forward in the game against Benfica in Charlotte. Conrad Lima. He almost got to the end of that one.
It's a great move. Everybody one-touch passing. Alexandro really good covering. So defensively aware. Looked like they were in. Another foul. So aggressive, the two centre-backs for Bayern. Going all the way. The two front players don't like it. It's going to keep happening.
This the kind of game Thomas Müller wants to avoid.
He just wants to come and say, I'll show you what I can do a little bit later on. And enjoy it. And the game's done, if that's going to be the case. There's a bit to go. Go side, don't give up.
Of course, every game at this tournament, now we're in the knockout stage, could be the last time we see Thomas Müller for Bayern Munich. There's been talks about him maybe joining an MLS side. But he won't be playing for Bayern Munich again. When you look at the attacking options on the pitch for Bayern Munich, you can see why he's not necessarily first choice anymore. And he's Jorginho.
A bit more choices on the bench as well. Good squad, get better and better. Organisation levels are really good now from Vincent Kompany.
Gonzalo Plata holding his arms out wide, saying, why is there no one near me? Where's the support? On goes Neuer, looking for Coman, who beats Wesley in the air. Can't beat Jorginho in the air, or Ortiz, sorry. Who wants half-time more, do you think?
I think Bayern have said, right, job done. Delighted with the situation. Needs a rethink, doesn't it? From a point of view, it's these areas here now, they don't have the next answer for me. They're not sure. Brilliant again. That's exactly the point. The defending's been brilliant. A step forward again.
Just so aggressive in the middle third as Harry Kane commits a foul on Jorginho. Tottenham getting one over Arsenal there. Shakes his head in disbelief, Harry Kane, but he just caught the toe of the former Arsenal man. It's Stanisic. Enjoying that battle with Gerson, but that is very cleverly and very calmly done. Here's Tap. Well, in the left wing back position, but the side will learn a throw in. Wesley, there's been a lot of talk about him pre-tournament, about where his future lies, new to the Brazil national team, Carlo Ancelotti's Brazil national team. A lot of talk about his attacking capabilities, but it's all been defensive so far for the Flamengo fullback. Ortiz with the header. Wesley given away in the midfield by Allen, but he recovers. Ortiz to Pereira. Space down the left-hand side for Alexandro. Away from Elise. Is there time for one more attack? Allen. Right to Luis Araujo, Alexandro, Pereira. Got to move it quickly. That's what the supporters are anxious about in the ground. Jorginho forward. Gonzalo Plata. Luis Araujo. Alexandro. Jorginho. Over the top, looking for Diarras Gaeta. It's a committed header at the back. And that is the last action of the first half here in Miami. 4 goals to talk about in the first 45 minutes. 4 yellow cards as well. It has been all action. Harry Kane with a deflected strike. Gerson with the sweetest strike of the tournament so far, you could say, to pull Flamengo back into it at 2-1. But then 4 minutes before half-time, Leon Goretzka found a gap, put the ball into it, which means at the break, Brazilian side.
Day 15 of the FIFA Club World Cup in the USA. We have reached the knockout stage. Striker Vangelis Pavlidis, as he saves it on the goal line.
Brilliant defending. He senses the danger, realises his team might be in trouble, gets back on the goal line. Brilliant header and anticipation from Antonio Silva.
Cucurella, who has scored 7 goals from left back for Chelsea this season. All 7 have come at home at Stamford Bridge. For a moment there, he thought he was going to open the scoring today. Here's Lavia. Delap. Down he goes. No free kick for Chelsea. Antonio Silva's tackle. We saw in the opening game of the group for Benfica when they took on Boca Juniors, they are well able to match the physical stuff. Osas trying to keep tabs on Cole Palmer. That clips the outside of the post, I think.
This is a chance early. It's Pedro Neto coming inside. He fakes to go to the far post and reverses it to Delap at the near post. Brilliant run from Delap. And watch this, Antonio Silva realises the problem might be that far post. Gets onto the goal line, heads it away and celebrates like he scored a goal.
I think there should be more of this in football. Defender celebrations.
This is it. Oh, it's another great save. Strong hand. Trying to sneak in at the near post at the last minute. Another top save from Trubin.
Casado, we just hesitated for a moment. Barrero was in to unsettle him. Lavia keeps it moving here, though. This is Marc Cucurella. Trubin to the rescue again. He spread his body so wide there. And the outstretched right arm denying Marc Cucurella.
Again, it's that strong right arm which keeps Cucurella out. Again, looking to go near post.
Benfica get Angel Di Maria involved in this a little bit more. Antonio Silva. Herrero for Orsnes. I'll tell you what, Sanchez had come off his goal line there expecting a cross, and he very quickly had to retreat back to the goal line. So Cruzeiro fan there in the crowd. Such a huge presence of Brazilians at this FIFA Club World Cup tournament in the United States. Every city we've been in, we've seen a huge number of Brazilians proudly wearing their colours. More free kicks, more yellow cards. This time Fiorentino Luis. The angle is tight here, but Anatoly Trubin has erected a two-man wall nevertheless. One good delivery, one well-timed leap, and it could be a breakthrough. Reece James tries to catch him out, and he does! Trubin erected the wall, but he didn't get the right planning permission. Reece James gives Chelsea the lead in Charlotte in the last 16 of the Club World Cup. And this tight, cagey game finally gets the breakthrough.
Absolutely brilliant from Reece James to have the bravery to do that, and then the quality and the pace to pull it off. See it from the goalkeeper's angle, it has to be inch perfect. It absolutely is from Reece James. The quality he has in his right foot deceives Trubin.
Di Maria. Orsnes. Oh, he's done really well against Cucurella here. Orsnes pulls it back. Prestigiani. He's fluffed the big moment. That could have been the equaliser for Benfica.
Brilliant work from Orsnes. Firstly, to get away from Cucurella, but there to have the calmness to pick out Prestigiani.
Prestigiani has managed to keep this alive here. Di Maria onto his right boot. He was trying to pull it back for Belotti. Benfica beginning to get chances now. Cucurella. Delap, look at the wide open space. Is he onside? Liam Delap around Trubin to find the back of the net, but it's not going to count. The offside flag is raised. Tomas Kranchnik, the assistant on the near side. You may notice a bit of disgruntlement around the stadium here. Because of some impending bad weather, the referee has been advised to bring the players off the pitch and into the tunnel. Somewhat later than advertised, these closing minutes.
Yeah, they got to help. Eric just glanced it off his head into the net. He gets a little bit of a nudge from Goretzka to maybe lose his balance a little bit. Good delivery from Kimmich as well, we should say. But yeah, it's a perfect start for a Bayern team.
And not to forget for Pulgar, who later got injured with a challenge on Harry Kane. So actually went off, own goal, and then went off. And talking of Harry Kane, it was him who gave Bayern the second goal, a 2-goal lead in this. And Shay, this was a lovely finish, but with the aid of a deflection.
Yeah, it's great work from Upamecano. He's pressed high up the pitch, Kelly, and that's really important. Vincent Kompany's teams like to tell his centre-halves, you see, they go all the way in, press him high up the pitch. Brilliant recovery from him, and then Harry Kane, we know what he does best. It does take a deflection on the way through, but if you don't buy a raffle ticket, you don't win the draw. Is that right? And it's another good strike from Harry Kane.
And of course, they all count. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. At this point, Kleberson told us that he might not be here for the second half. I think he was fearing for the worst, but did pull a goal back. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I think that's the only time Flamengo get more numbers inside the box. The little shot, like close to the goal. It's really too hard that ball to save that ball, but that's a goal can put Flamengo back in the game. But unfortunately, gave the third goal in the end.
Yes, we did get the third goal queued up perfectly. And Shay, this was very frustrating for Flamengo, thinking they kind of got themselves back into it on the stroke of half time.
Yeah, I think Flamengo were very deep here. There was no one closing Goretzka down at all. I think Cleverson off air was talking to me, where is Rossi, the goalkeeper, going as well? I think he's just leaned to one side to try and get a look at the ball, and there's so many bodies in front of him. And then Goretzka's just reversed it into the other side. It's a brilliant finish from him, but it's a long way out. I expect one of the midfielders to be on top of him by the time he hits it.
Where do they go in the second half then? From a Flamengo point of view, they looked, as I said, to have kind of got themselves, if they could have gone in at 2-1, it would have been very different to 3-1.
Yeah, I think they need to put like probably Bruno Henrique in the game, so could have more guys get more speed in the front. That's the only way they can get the second goal. I can think about the maybe third goal in the second half.
But the good news is you're still here with us. The fact that it's 3-1, he was happy to wait it out and to be here with us. OK, well, the second half is coming very shortly on the DAZN app for you. A reminder then, Bayern do lead by 3-1 against Flamengo. It got off to the perfect start. They were 2-0 up inside 9 minutes. The second goal scored by that man, Harry Kane. Flamengo did get one back, but it wasn't to be. 3-1 at half-time to Bayern. Vincent Kompany, the happier of the two managers. Second half to come next.
Look good to me. I wanna see your body moving enough energy and four. They on the dance floor.
Google Pick.
This last 16 game in Charlotte. Chelsea almost there before Mother Nature called the time out. It's a day when the sky has brought the lightning. Reece James brought the thunder. His free kick was quite brilliant, actually, catching the goalkeeper and wall off guard. Chelsea thought they were going to get it back, but it's a push from Di Maria. It's a free kick in a promising position.
Good work from Di Maria. Seems to have plenty of energy. Just looking, he's waiting for that half a yard. Caicedo's not giving him it. I think he's looking for that foul. The ref buys it.
Di Maria's clutching left boot, looking for Otamendi. This appeals for a handball. It came off the head of Otamendi. They're screaming that it was a handball by a defender. There's a yellow card immediately for the protests. The video assistant referee is from Italy, Marco Di Bello. He'll be looking at the replays of this in the background. Benfica were adamant that there was a handball there. What drama, Andros. If Benfica are going to get a penalty here, this might just be worth the wait.
It's going to be a penalty, but from a footballer's perspective, when you jump, you have to jump with your arms. He's jumped from the ball, his arms are above his head. He's not even looking at the ball.
Referee just took a couple of glances. Let's have a listen.
Number 27 from Chelsea. Play with punishable handball. My final decision is penalty.
And the Benfica fans who didn't leave the stadium are quite overjoyed that they are still here to see this now. Handball, penalty. If Benfica lose, it's his final game for the club. He's leaving, he's gone back to Argentina. He's joining his boyhood team, Rosario Central. And a fourth penalty success against Chelsea for Angel Di Maria. And for Benfica, the 2-hour weather delay was certainly worth the wait. He is the master. from the spot. He scored his last 10 penalties in a row, Angel Di Maria. He's now the tournament's top scorer, you know. Correa keeps making those runs. This is Dewsbury Hall. Angle is tight. Stopped by Otamendi. Oh, now that is Prestiani with the challenge of Colwell. It's another yellow card. It took such a lot. Oh, he's got to get a red. He gets a red. And if we thought the drama here was over, Prestiani sent off. Just to confirm, with the Prestiani red card, he was shown yellow right at the end of regular time.
See how sharp you really are. Just search for DAZN.com/fanzone or open the DAZN app to take part. There's plenty of polls on there. Just discovered that Leon Goretzka has been voted the player of the half. But the ultimate result is in 45 minutes. We'll be back in just a moment for the second half. Welcome back to Florida. We're in Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium and we're just a few minutes away from the second half getting underway. Bayern Munich were 2-0 up inside the first 10 minutes. Flamengo pulled themselves back into it. Captain Gerson with an excellent strike. So much power in it, no chance for Manuel Neuer. However, Bayern Munich did regain their 2-goal cushion. Leon Goretzka finding the back of the net from about 5 yards outside the penalty area. And the Flamengo supporters are a lot quieter now than they were at the beginning of the first half. Michael Brown is still alongside me, and do you give them any hope in this second half?
I think there's certainly hope. I think there's obviously an energy about the team, some sort of determination as well, that they don't obviously just lay down. They will come and try and give everything in the second half. We know about the heat, the climate, the temperature that they can cope with, the way the levels are at, but they can move against this Bayern Munich side who now realising at this level, this stage of the tournament, the first 1 or 2 games you've got half a chance of getting good results against teams who are treating it a little bit like a pre-season where there's still some family, but now they're in the stride. They realise what their end is. The clubs obviously demand that they're right towards the end of the tournament, the financial rewards that are coming, and obviously the personal pride when you have a manager like Vincent Kompany will want this on his CV, will want to take a win. Yes, the journey's difficult beyond this, but they are not going to come out and take it lightly. So it's unlikely that Flamengo are going to turn it round, but we've seen second half performances against obviously the English side, Chelsea, that they can go on and do.
Well, they're hoping for a repeat of it. Didn't have the best of first half. Agustin Rossi picking the ball out of his net 3 times. But we've seen in that first 45 that Bayern Munich are playing with a very high press and trying to contain Flamengo in the Flamengo half. In this weather and just naturally with how the game goes, they could get a bit tired and more opportunities could present themselves to Flamengo.
They can, but when it's in that stage, what they're going to have to try and do is turn it over the press and get a 1v1 race the other side. They haven't done that. Whether they say, well, You know, when we look at Plata at the top, he hasn't really got the pace to hurt us, so Bayern will sneak all the way, he'll go right on top. Seeing Upamecano's just going on, whether it's a number 10, whether it's a sort of an attacking midfielder coming in, he goes and steps and stops it. So it's all around. They must find a formula. They keep playing it out from the back. They've tried a couple of clips, but they must turn this side around to create the gap, the distance for them to play. And obviously, I think Bayern will say, well, OK, we're ready for it. Can they do it? We will soon see.
Like you say, Vincent Kompany, I'm sure he'd love to add the Club World Cup to his relatively new CV to management. Won the Bundesliga last season, of course, with Bayern Munich. And I can't forget, he got Burnley promoted from the Championship. Flamengo will be certainly hoping for some change in this second half. No substitutions at the break. As Flamengo are attacking the end, which is packed full of supporters in black and red. Here's Gerson. Kane will get the loose ball, or pick it up temporarily. Lost it now. Herrera. Allen. And now Ortiz. And you'd to give them any kind of hope of bringing this back to 3-3 to take it to extra time, they need to get an early start.
Yeah, they do. Not like touches like that. This is better. Pressure on.
Tar plays it back to Neuer. Plata wasn't giving that one up, and just about had enough pressure on it as Wesley miscontrols it. Gnabry gives it to Coman. Down the left for Bayern. Wesley dangles a leg in the way. Doesn't do enough. Goretzka. That's not enough from him. Luis Araujo in the way. Here's Rossi. Argentinian goalkeeper for the Brazilian side.
There's the point again. It's clipped up into Plata. What's his touch? Yes, he's under pressure. He's got to find an answer. Whether he just comes away from it, whether the defender can't carry, whether he gets on the side of him. He's too straight down the barrel. Defender's coming right up the back. And from there on, it's a loose touch. Listen, just it's frustrated as the ball goes away.
There's Manuel Neuer. For Lima. Elise right the corner for Harry Kane. Pair of them end up on the deck, and I think it was given for the Elise one. Alexandro commanded the foul down the left-hand side for Flamengo. And in case you are wondering, yes, it is that Alexandro, 34-year-old former Juventus man. He missed 2 games in the group stage due to fatigue for playing for Brazil. Against Bayern Munich twice, 1 win, 1 defeat. There's Kane trying to find the gap, doesn't find it, but it still comes to Coman. Crosses Allen to take it off. Kingsley Coman's feet. Herrera. He'll be thinking back to that long-range strike that he had in the first half. Thinking next time. Out to Wesley, sees the space in the middle. It's the Arrascaeta, but he couldn't bring it under his control. Neither could Lima. Luis Araujo, simply out-muscled by the Bayern defender. No foul on him.
It's a bit unlucky there, is he not?
Looked like a clip. Wesley. Plata. Gerson across to Herrera. Now Allen. Wesley in a central position, goes down. And the referee does give that free kick. Goretzka just diving in too aggressively for Michael Oliver's liking. And Flamengo have a free kick in a decent position here.
It goes tight. It's more the arm, isn't it? Rather than contact or going to the ground. Still quite far out, isn't it? To one side, it's going to be something special. I'll beat the goalkeeper.
Plata, Herrera and Arrascaeta. Oh, the trio standing over it. Looks like there's 10 yards outside the penalty area, call it 30 yards from goal.
Somewhere around that. It's a long way. The organisation That wall, there's someone just sneaking in from the goalkeeper's eye line. And he stays there or just moves, but it's a good opportunity. You've got to hit the target, test the goalkeeper, take something from this.
And yes, Gaeta is lining it up as if he's going to be the man to strike it. The Uruguayan stands over it. Tieras Gaeta over the crossbar. No threat whatsoever for Manuel Neuer.
Always rising. Not really with too much quality. Got to be better than that. No rush. All you just say is we'll drift it back in. The press is higher, isn't it? But they've looked comfortable when they've done this. One drops down the midfielder, but that's what they're prepared to do. They're under pressure, go direct.
Elise with the tackle. At his finest moments as he sends it over to the right-hand side for Flamengo, and now Wesley. Jorginho throws his hands in the air, disappointed at himself for playing that behind the flying full-back. Jorginho, way forward into Diaz, Gaeta. Plata. Bayern dropping back into that back five. As Tar simply steps in and wins possession back. Too easy for the former Leverkusen man. They always seem to have either one of Kinnick or Goretzka go back and make that a back five, which makes it even harder for Flamengo to find a runner in behind.
They've just gone man to man. They don't really want to pass the son on, do they? You just have a little look at him, know he's a danger.
And here's Alexandro. Off the ball forward, there's two runners in Flamengo colours. Plata over the top for Hierson. Needs help. Tieras Gaeta plays it behind the Uruguayan. Still has it. Coleman in the way. 51 minutes played. Flamengo 1, Bayern Munich 3. They'll be playing PSG in the quarterfinals next weekend if it stays like this. Oh, Luis Araujo finds space and it deflects off the defender and behind for a corner. Upamecano screaming at the white shirts in front of him saying, where's the midfield? Because Luis Araujo just found a pocket there and nobody picked it up.
Yeah, they've got good possession though. They're moving it around. You can't expect the central midfielder to look into that one when it's the wide player coming in the inside position. If the fullbacks go as well, that's the problem, isn't it, for your right back, whether you go half and half, whether you go inside. Just that little bit of room, but I feel still they have momentum. There's going to be obviously an extra trick or skill to get a sight at goal.
Luis Araujo in front of those Flamengo supporters towards the back post, nodded away by Upamecano, kept alive over on the far side. Tieras Gaeta now, did that hit a hand? Yes it did! A round of applause from Jorginho and an almighty cheer from the Flamengo supporters, because now they've got a chance from 12 yards to cut this deficit once more.
Well, he's not really complaining too much, is he? He just sees it spun round the corner. The arm's out, it's away, it's high. He doesn't even argue the situation. Michael Oliver looks straight at him and says, penalty kick. From there on, I don't know why he sort of doesn't press with momentum. Elise just goes half-hearted and starts like, oh, well, should I go, should I not? It just sort of looks like he's a little bit lazy in the actual attempt to stop it. And once the arm's away from your body, you know it's going to be a tricky situation. Now this guy who's been through so much and a wonderful career, the opportunity to close the gap. But what lies ahead of him is a very, very good goalkeeper.
Well, during his time in Europe, Jorginho was pretty much Mr. Reliable. For his new club, it's Jorginho against Manuel Neuer here in Miami to cut the deficit for Flamengo. It's a huge moment in this game. Jorginho sends Neuer the wrong way. Never any doubt in the Italian And the new boy has his first goal for Flamengo. And the side from Rio de Janeiro are back in it once again. Flamengo 2, Bayern Munich 3.
Does he want to relax anymore when he steps up? How does he do it? In front of those supporters, that hop, that skip, that delay, waiting for the goalkeeper just to commit. Then that late change. He knows it's too late, the goalkeeper. He's already gone. Really good quality, difficult to do. Gets his team back in with an opportunity.
Well, we talked about hope at the beginning of the second half, and I'd say there's considerably more hope now. Jorginho off the mark for his new team. And they've got a bit more energy about them all of a sudden, Flamengo. Luis Araujo through the legs of Tar, looking for Gerson, and Lima had to be there, otherwise Flamengo are one-on-one. Well, we may be in Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium, but it sounds a little bit like the Maracanã. Here's Kimmich. Forward to Gnabry, who wasn't expecting it. Herrera steps into the midfield. Lima, Kimmich, Goretzka. Now Tar. Bayern will just want to kill the atmosphere once again to regain control here in Miami. Kane chopped from behind by Leo Ortiz. Elise. Gnabry to Kimmich. Now Upamecano. Flamengo dropping into a 4-4-2. That's your vintage, wasn't it?
So just sat there trying to delay, but they've got themselves back into this. Bayern now trying to play through, but it's tougher.
And they've given it away. Flamengo flooding forward. Tierescaeta can't get beyond his man. Upamecano to the rescue, and I think Michael Oliver's given a goal kick here. He has, but Tierescaeta, he knew what a great opportunity that was, as he sees his number go up on the board.
Yeah, it was a good opportunity. It's really opened up now, end to end. People making mistakes. The press really good from Flamengo, but we're starting to see some movement, changes from the technical areas.
Coman is moving rather uncomfortably. Looks as if Leroy Sané could be the man to replace him. Coman and Goretzka are the two off. Sané and Pavlovic replace them. There's Goretzka's strike. Wasn't a bad one. As Pavlovic makes his way on. The 21-year-old. He's already a fan favourite at Bayern. He's Munich born. Germany international nowadays as well. I'm sure we'll hear a lot more of his name at this tournament and in European football over the next few seasons. Bruno Henrique is the man who's on for Flamengo. Saw him scoring that game against Chelsea.
He set it off, he certainly made a difference, and so the manager will be looking for him to do the same again. It's interesting changes from both coaches, and it seems to be going more end to end now. The game's opening. So Vincent Kompany, nice problem, isn't it, to have when you decide if you bring Coleman off and Leroy Sané on.
Leroy Sané is not to be of the Bayern Munich parish for much longer. As Bruno Henrique runs in behind, but Manuel will take that all day. Due to join Galatasaray on a 3-year deal as the former Manchester City man. Had 2 one-on-ones in that game with Benfica, missed them both. Maybe he was already thinking about his future in Turkey. Here's Lima, strong tackle. Sarayo ends up between the legs of the Bayern Munich fullback. Felipe Luis, he's new to management, but he knows how to get something out of his team.
He does. He understands the defensive shape and setup, and then something to build coming out of that. And still a little after effects and late challenges. There's been a couple in this game. Tested the referee out. It certainly feels like there's more to come towards the end of this game, and a really enjoyable one.
Well, Flamengo will be certainly hoping that there's more to come from this game. Joshua Kimmich to take this. Free kick for Bayern Munich. Half an hour to go. Flamengo 2, Bayern Munich 3, and what has been a brilliant hour of football here in Miami. That is Alexandro. Rossi, across to Ortiz. Across to Leo Pereira. And Jorginho. Rossi sends it long for Bruno Henrique, up against Upamecano, but it's Jonathan Tah who's across, and is fouled in the process. There's a few Flamengo supporters in the ground who disagreed with that decision.
Oh, only a couple of tens of thousands have disagreed with it. But see the difference. Turn them around, run it in behind. UK can do that. Great support as well. From behind from Wesley, 2v1, but Tah under pressure.
I think those few thousand supporters might have had a case there. Another soft foul given for the German international.
What a pass that was as well. Right across the face.
Lima into Gnabry. Upamecano fires it into the feet of Kimmich. Not sure if that was meant for the number 6. Upamecano. Jonathan Tah. Sané inside to Harry Kane. Returns it to Leroy Sané, who goes down, but Wesley hits the deck and gets a yellow card. Well, from our position, it didn't look like a foul, but I think he must have gone through the back of the Bayern Munich substitute. Oh well. He did get his man.
He did get the man. Referee, full credit. He didn't look it, but when you see that replay, he's up on top of the situation. It was the leg first. He did come out with the ball just after that. Good position for free kick. A dangerous one.
Everyone back for Flamengo. Lots of targets in the middle. Kane, an obvious one. Tara's in there. Upamecano's in there. And Pavlovic is in there as well. Bayern for the 3rd time in this game, looking to take a 2-goal lead. Bayern, the top scorers at this tournament in the Club World Cup, looking to add a 4th here in Miami. Towards the back post it goes! And it goes behind for a corner, does it? It does. Harry Kane asking for a push in the back. In fact, there was an offside given against the England man in the 6-yard box. Did he have a case for a push there?
As he gets along the line, Well, there's contact from behind. He was just in an advanced area, but a little one, but not too much.
They're saying there was a push in the back, but he almost certainly pushed his man in the back. Russell. Flamengo supporters believe Jorginho, his penalty, has given them more hope.
The defenders again, how far they go, all the way, ushering them away.
Well defended over on the left-hand side by Bayern Munich. He had numbers favourably there, Flamengo, but Bayern dealt with it. Gnabry, Pavlovic, Sane. Now Kimmich shrugs off his man, and the referee reaches into his pocket. Kimmich with a waggle of the finger and a shake of the head. Well, that's going to stop him from getting a yellow card here. What game was it? Was it the Al Hilal game when they got the penalty for the arm across? Similar sort of foul in the midfield. Real Madrid got a penalty that day. Flamengo today get a free kick in their own half.
He's unlucky for a yellow card because of the height. Do you know, if you're looking, if he's higher up and you put your arm into the face, but he's looking towards sort of mid-body area, but because he's bent down into the side of his face, I think the referee might just see the contact towards the face. And he can give a foul, but I just feel at times are quite easy to give yellow cards.
Long ball over the top here for Bruno Henrique. Manuel Neuer comes off his line, doesn't get there, but does enough just to scare Bruno Henrique as he tried to flick it around the German goalkeeper. And the Bayern defenders could just watch as it drifted out for a goal kick. But that Bayern back line, it wasn't aligned.
You know, Stanisic just on that far side. Goalkeeper, poor decision. Got his eyes on the ball, but from there on trying to wrap his leg around it, just completely misses it.
Appreciated the through ball though, Bruno Henrique. It was a great pass. Well, Jack Catterall looks to return to winning ways in Manchester, taking on the undefeated Haarlem Eubank in a scintillating domestic dust-up at welterweight, live on DAZN, on the DAZN app. As Bayern Munich have the lead here in Miami in the round of 16 at the Club World Cup. .23 minutes to go. There's a few Bayern Munich shirts dotted in around the ground here. There's a Newcastle one, an Inter Miami one as well. Great day for the club shop. Well, they're having a great time, Flamengo, and the Brazilian supporters, or the South American supporters in this tournament. They've added so much to it, haven't they?
Not so much, but the team have given everything. Expectation levels are unsure, but they've overperformed that. And really set an example and testing this top Bayern Munich side all the way here.
Elise, Lima around the corner for Harry Kane. He's onside. Lima continues his run into the middle. Kane will cut it back. Missed completely by Sane, Pavlovic, and Stanisic will go for it, but Gerson is there. It's very calmly done. Wesley, Gerson tries to burst away from his man. Did so, but tried to play for a throw-in. There's a few tired-looking legs in this Flamengo side, isn't there?
I think we'll see that now drifting in. That's for certain from both sides. Substitutions are going to be key.
Here's Conrad Lima. Michael Elise. Dispossessed all too easily by Luis Araujo. Just puts his foot through it. Vincent Kompany directs his players to come back and help. They're doing what they can. Elise cuts inside, rides one challenge. Herrera comes across. What a clever flick that is. Just didn't have enough might on it to find Serge Gnabry. Allen plays it out wide to Luis Araujo. Ortiz back to Agustin Rossi. Had 7 clean sheets on the bounce until that Chelsea game, did Agustin Rossi. Won't be too comfortable with conceding 3 in this one. And ball forward, looking for Bruno Henrique. And Clover waves away the foul towards Platter and Tar. Pavlovic, Lupa Meccano. Elise. Reluctant to go backwards, goes inside to Joshua Kimmich. Stanisic. Gnabry might open up here for Bayern Munich. Harry Kane slides it through, looking for Sane for 4. He tried to cut it back to Kane, but Jorginho was there. Well, maybe Leroy Sane was just lacking a little bit of confidence there after the misses in the Benfica game. Because from 6 yards out, surely you've got to take a shot.
He's still under his feet. Good build-up play. Kane on the turn. The sliding pass again was just not in front of him, and just looks to be unselfish as he tries to pull the ball back, and wasn't meant to be. Kane left very, very frustrated.
Munich are preparing their 3rd change of the afternoon here in Miami. 19 minutes to go. Pereira plays it long. Nodded on by Lima. Not quite sure what that header was by Alexandro. I wonder if we'll see his former Juventus teammate, Danilo. He was on the bench today for Flamengo. It's Bayern Munich to make that 3rd change. Serge Gnabry has done enough this afternoon for Vincent Kompany as he departs the pitch. Jamal Musiala, the latest substitute to enter the fray for Bayern Munich. As they try and do something almost immediately through the feet of the youngster. Given away though, that's poor, that's Kane, that's very good from Harry Kane. Flamengo play themselves into trouble once again. You can't give it away in that area, especially when England's top scorer, Bayern Munich's top scorer, Harry Kane, is lurking. Clinical from Harry Kane in Miami. Flamengo 2, Bayern Munich 4.
That man just makes it look so easy, so comfortable. You're playing out. I said there was an aggressive press, but you've got to be sure it's here now, and it's then the reverse pass is nice. That touch is difficult to get out your feet into a position where you can see the goal. He already knows. Brilliant finish with the instep. So cool, collective, upright, real quality into the corner. That's what he does every single day in training. Is what he's done all through his career. And that should be job done for Bayern Munich.
Well, he loves it. Here at the Hard Rock Stadium, does Harry Kane. He was man of the match in the win against Boca Juniors, got a goal and an assist, and here he's on a hat-trick. As we take the second half cooling break here in Miami. Couldn't have come at a better time for Bayern Munich. Well, both these teams were unbeaten in the group stages. Now one must face defeat and be knocked out as Brazilian Fluminense face Champions League finalists from Italy, Inter Milan, live from the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. You can watch that on the DAZN app, of course. Where you can watch all of the Club World Cup. Jürgen Klinsmann, the man who once upon a time was the United States national team coach. He was actually the manager who gave Thomas Müller debut all the way back in 2008. We'll get a chance to see Müller this afternoon.
Just looking back now, you see the goals, and I'm sure he'll get to meet whoever he wants, to be honest. But there's Kane into a position, and then on you thought there was no way back, but they kept fighting, didn't they? This Franco side with a wonderful strike. It's really clean and powerful, and you've seen so much in a tremendous game. Some quality, difficult in these conditions as well. And one of the players having another cooling break, needed at the right time. For
Day 15 of the FIFA Club World Cup in the USA.
That fourth goal, they want to slow it down as much as possible, but also finishes with quality. You've seen the eyes there, Goretzka, and then the moment. I sort of said there wasn't a great deal of energy in that sort of block of the cross, but that man, can he control penalties? Is he cool in those situations? I thought then there was a good lifeline.
Yeah, they've had a couple of lifelines, Flamengo, but it's the high press from Bayern Munich, isn't it? There's no room to manoeuvre. 14 minutes to go, plus quite a fair bit of injury time. It's Flamengo 2, Bayern Munich 4. As Plata puts Ta under pressure, and Manuel Neuer says no pressure whatsoever as he brings that one down. Here's Lima. Looks for Elise, but Alexandro is there. Now Agustin Rossi. And Lima's down for Bayern Munich. Free kick goes the way of the Austrian. It's looking more and more likely that Bayern Munich are to be the side that progress. How would you fancy them against PSG?
Someday we'll fancy them. See, they're not favourites. They've got a determination. They've done so many good things right throughout the years. They've got some great players who can certainly cause an upset.
PSG scored 4. Now Bayern on 4. I'm sure they'll be looking to outdo them with more goals this afternoon in Miami as they come forward once again. Michael Elise. Konrad Lima. The Austrian sees no progressive options, so goes back to Upamecano. Arjen Pavlovic. Lima. Oh, it's a strong flying tackle down that far side from Luis Araujo. Kimmich asking for the foul.
Araujo's before as well. He's just had one that he's caught a couple of people. He's seen some aggressive challenges. He's not afraid to go.
Well, he made that massive tackle on Kimmich, didn't he, in the first half?
And he's just done one before on Lima as well.
Ball here for Wesley. He's asking for the throw in. He's going to get it as well as it bounces off the shoulder of Sane, who's all the way back there defending. Didn't look too happy about that, Leroy Sane, the Turkey-bound winger. Jorginho. Bruno Henrique controls it with the shoulder, but miscontrols it with the shoulder. Upamecano forced to put it out though. Jorginho, I don't think he was expecting that. That's because the throw was taken from a position about 15-20 yards from where the ball actually went out of play. What's that symbol mean? Ball's retaken. Jorginho. Can he pull something out the bag for Flamengo here in Miami? Alexandro. Goes down by Elise, who gets his heel on it before the former Juve man had the chance to bring it under his control. Alan came on in the first half as a substitute for Eric Pulgar, who scored the first goal of this game, unfortunately for him, at the wrong end. Running behind, Bruno Henrique. Lima comes across as the assistant raises his flag on the far side, and Bayern Munich will get a free kick. 10 minutes to go. Flamengo 2, Bayern Munich 4 here at the Hard Rock.
Yeah, Enrique, willing runner. He's got to stay in an onside position. He's trying to get in behind, which is, I think it's certainly made a difference. It's tested this Bayern backline, something for them to think about. Obviously that press and then the Kane goal just changed what would have been an interesting ending.
Musiala can't control that one, but has it now. Pereira steps out of defence, and first opportunity for Bayern Munich's star to display his twinkle toes as he's clipped from behind and wins a free kick. Looks like Flamengo are preparing a hat-trick of substitutions down in front of us. They're going to make those changes now. Jorginho leaves the field of play. Wallace-Jan will join the attack from the bench. He's actually only played 27 minutes of Club World Cup football in this tournament, but he does have a goal in each of his appearances, Wallace-Jan. Scored the immediate equaliser against LAFC and scored that final third goal against Chelsea to secure the victory in Philadelphia.
Have to do it quick. Going for it now, aren't they? 3 changes, just saying, here we go. Any momentum, anything we can get. Line side, no rush. Game management, just delaying. Set pieces is something, obviously, Bayern are strong on. I think they've certainly got to improve on.
Well, they're looking for a fifth here in Miami. Joshua Kimmich stands over this free kick for Bayern Munich. Lots of whip on it towards the back post, but too much for Michael Elise. Goal kick, Flamengo. It's been a hot afternoon once again here at the Club World Cup. Not quite had the weather that they had last night in the Benfica game. Ortiz receives it, very risky pass at the back from Rossi, but it works out, and Harry Kane's tracking back here. Great runner by Ayrton Lucas, who's just come on, and Harry Kane throws in a very, very poorly timed challenge, and he looked tired tracking back there, and in fairness to the England, he has probably ran a good 70, 80 yards to make that tackle.
It's the quickest and longest I've ever seen Harry Kane run, and he's wanting it over as quick as possible. And I honestly believe he went for the ball, he thought he had it. Unfortunately, at times, you get it wrong, he made the decision, doesn't say sorry. I don't know what more that the official could do. They're asking questions, but just misses the ball, catches the man, yellow card, and on we go.
He's not exactly going to be able to outpace the recently introduced Ayrton Lucas, who's only been on the pitch a matter of minutes. His legs are much fresher.
I think we've seen that in Kane's body language as he's running, thinking, am I really going to continue? Is this going to, do I have to keep going all the way down? He pushed it once more.
Here comes the free kick, doesn't beat the near post, and now the counter's on. Danger for Flamengo. Elise plays it through. Sane's there, back to Michael Olise. Brilliant footwork, cuts it back for Musiala. But Flamengo had numbers back and they clear their lines. But Olise just needed to pull the trigger. And it was a great moment for them to extend their lead to 5 goals, and I'd be surprised if Bayern get a better opportunity in the second half as Allen thumps the ball away. Laimer with the header. Been very impressed with Konrad Laimer in at right back today. He's got forward and he's done his defensive duties very well. Here's Pereira. The ball takes a touch off Musiala into the hands of Rossi. He'll send it long, looking for Bruno Henrique, but Neuer's off his line, asking for a handball. Bruno Henrique and a few thousand Flamengo supporters as well. And Michael Oliver indicating his thoughts, hit him in the torso. Well, it was blocked from our commentary position. Bruno Henrique was a lot closer to it. That'd be one which would be interesting to see through the referee cam. Here's Plata, now on the right-hand side for Flamengo, but too many white shirts there once again. Stanisic staying big. How about that for a pass? Left back to right back. Konrad Laimer now being chased back, and Olise, I think he was on his heels there.
Yeah, it's a poor ball as well. He does so well initially. Good touch, dynamic in attack, better quality. They've had a couple of good counters now, haven't they? Bayern. Sane certainly getting to good positions, unselfish. That pass across. But this is the moments now. And they've got to drive forward as Flamengo team just to see if we can have an ending, see if something special can happen.
Musiala with the trip, and then there was a push in the back. Was it Stanisic who ended up on the deck as well? As we see the replay of that foul, no doubt in that. Nicolas de la Cruz hitting the deck. Wasn't too happy with the fact that Stanisic wouldn't give him the ball back immediately, as Musiala is the latest player to get a yellow card. In comes across towards the back post. Elise's got to be careful because Ayrton Lucas is there. And Lucas has hooked it up behind for a goal kick. Right, let's have a look at this again. It's very much on the chest, isn't it?
It's as clean as it gets. Referee, no hesitation. It's a foul, isn't it? You have to look, see if it will run into Leroy Sané's path. It doesn't. Referee brings it back. Go, circulate, delay, wait. Just drop in now. Bayern team, be careful not to go too far.
There's Neuer. Waits and waits for the movement from Pavlovic, but opts instead to play it across to Jonathan Tah. Here he is now. Tah looking for Kane, who's looking a little bit zapped by the Floridian heat.
Might take him a week, mightn't it, to recover from that run. He's coming, he might have to look after him for a few days for the next game.
100 metres Harry. Running back to the right back berth. Pereira to Luis Araujo, whose attacking output in the second half has diminished quite significantly. Ortiz. Costa de la Cruz. Tries a clever 1-2. Does the one, doesn't do the two. Lucas. Face with Michael Olise. Might not have gotten the score sheet this afternoon, Michael Olise, but he's proven once again that he's very much the right fit for this Bayern Munich team. Ortiz towards the back post. Bruno Henrique knocks it down, and Laimer was the first man on the scene. Musiala causing problems in the midfield for Flamengo, as especially Kimmich shows maybe a few signs of fatigue.
Well, that was one of those, wasn't it? A tired ball. He was trying to curl it round to the path of Olise. But what they've got to do is turn this Bayern side around quickly, make the pass, We've got no width, they're all narrow. So easy. I'll get someone a lot wider and higher, stretch it out.
Here's Pereira. Out wide for Lucas. Skips away from Joshua Kimmich. Almost finds the pass out to Plata, but instead Bayern Munich come away with possession. Sane on the left, told to slow down by Stanisic. And Leroy Sane does slow. Pavlovic, Sane, Ta. Upamecano. To Elise. Knows Kane goes back to Konrad Laimer as we await the fourth official's board. But there is an increased feeling inside the Hard Rock that Bayern Munich are going to be the side that progress to the next round.
I think you can tell by the atmosphere. I can't believe that it's not going to happen.
Musiala. Elise lets it roll past his body. Laimer. 7 minutes of injury time added on. Still time for more here in Miami. We'll be back here in a few days' time for Real Madrid against Juventus. That's not a bad tie. Sane forward. Kane can't control it. Bruno Henrique. Is there one more wave of attack in black and red as Bruno Henrique is tripped by Konrad Laimer? And it will be yet another yellow card in this game. He's had a few frosty moments this game, but that's the 9th yellow card in this game now. Doesn't feel like a 9 yellow card game to me.
And he's got cramp, that's a tired coming together. I think Michael Oliver recognised that and sort of said, right, as they're coming together, but unfortunately you've got to stay out the way of your opponent, get into attacking position. Inserts himself in the challenge. A bit of cramp and just caught his leg. Luckily he didn't go away from him. He could have hurt his ankle there.
Okay, he's ready to come on. Nice confirmation of the yellow card for Konrad Laimer. Well, coming into this game, Bayern Munich only had Leon Goretzka on a yellow card. They've got 5 yellows in this game alone as the supporters get ready for their hero to arrive. Well, he's talked about his future. He said he wants something new, something exotic. So who knows, he might well end up playing his football in Florida or the MLS somewhere else. He's got his 250th goal for Bayern Munich in that win over Auckland City. As he jogs on here for the injured Konrad Laimer. Thomas Müller at the Club World Cup in the round of 16. Is there one last trophy for Müller to add to his collection as Harry Kane leaves the field of play? 2 goals, 2 pretty brilliant goals, all in a day's work for Harry Kane. Free kick for Flamengo. De La Cruz takes it, headed away at the near post, and it's a foul by Leroy Sane on Pereira. And this free kick's in a much better position.
Good area now. This will certainly give us the wow factor ending. If this could have quality, could end up in the back of the net. Changes have been made, and so you feel like there's a little bit of lost hope, but you do things like that in an area which is dangerous, you could get punished.
Silly from Sane. Confirmed that Müller and Bowie are on for Bayern Munich in this one. Oh, there's a deflection on that free kick. Thomas Müller gets his head on it. De La Cruz will run across to collect that free kick and take the corner on the far side.
Good touch. That's his first one. It's a good one. Not necessarily where you'd have expected him, but they come again.
Short corner, bumped into the midriff of Joshua Kimmich. Oh, that's one heck of a cross. And not a bad effort by Wallace-Jan. Technique on that cross from out wide, absolutely superb. Look at that technique from De La Cruz, and Wallace-Jan, he just snuck in front of Thomas Müller to get his head on that. And almost made it 3-3 for his time at the Club World
Because
Cup.
the ball was so good, it allowed him to do it. It was actually a half chance. Wasn't the most easiest of opportunities, but certainly okay. Great touch.
Müller takes down Neuer's long pass. And the games of those two played together for club and country. Kimmich. To Stanisic, back to Ta. Now Upamecano. Forward for Elise. Ball first touch. Tried to spin away from his man, Ertan Lucas, but couldn't do so. Oh, and Ertan Lucas, that's a giveaway once again as Elise just watches it roll out under the nose of his manager, who is minutes away from victory. That's your man, Luis Araujo, going in on Joshua Kimmich once again. Is that 3 fouls on Kimmich alone?
He's had a lot of fouls. He's aggressive. He's quick to put pressure on.
And he's yet to have a yellow card. One of the few players on the pitch who hasn't. Well, they said they needed to match the South American intensity, and they have managed to do that. Yellow cards and all, Bayern Munich. As Kimmich switches the play. Wesley leaps highest, beats Sane to the ball. Pavlovic. Back to Ta. Upamecano. Too much on that, or wide to Elise.
It's the company saying get yourself over, squeeze the pitch, try and stop any late runs, get a little bit of pressure on the ball because he knows this was what's going to happen.
There's Ta. I think he was waiting for Neuer to shout, but dealt with it very well. Here's Sane. Kimmich sees a running behind. A brilliant ball by Kimmich into Leroy Sane to seal it in Miami at the goalkeeper Rossi. Well, he had 2 chances just like that against Benfica, which had the same outcome, and he'll be disappointed once again to see his effort saved.
The ball's really good. The pace of him we know is always there, but the end product didn't really finish it off, and he'd be more disappointed in it than anybody else.
Well, that would have been a cherry on the very humid cake here at the Hard Rock Stadium. So there will be time for this free kick. They've only got 2 players in an attacking position by Munich, so I don't think they're going to sling it into the penalty area. Although Müller wants it. Wouldn't expect anything less. Alexander Pavlovic also waiting in there. Elise battling with De La Cruz and battling a little bit too hard. Michael Elise.
He was strong, wasn't he? He put his body, after he decides there was too much contact, you knew it wasn't going to go in, they were just going to delay in his last moments, but it's been a really good game, enjoyable. Flamengo certainly have played their part in it, but if goals away like they have, they're always going to be in difficult situations, and Bayern have been exceptional.
And there it is. 2 goals from Harry. And Bayern Munich are on their way to take on PSG next weekend in Atlanta. It's been a quite brilliant occasion here in the Hard Rock Stadium. It's really gone back and forward and back and forward. Flamengo putting on a real show. Their supporters excellent inside the Hard Rock as well. It almost felt like a home game for them. But Manuel Neuer, he will be progressing into the next round as Thomas Müller gets his appearance from the substitutes bench as well. But Vincent Kompany's side in control for large parts of that game. Not entirely. He'll be happy with the victory and the performance to some extent. Be very disappointed at the fact they did concede 2 goals, as Harry Kane will take home the superior player of the match. His first goal took a slight deflection. His second goal, an error at the back by Flamengo. When you give the ball away to Harry Kane in the penalty area, he will finish it. It's their first defeat at the Club World Cup for Flamengo after being unbeaten in the group. But here, it's Bayern Munich who progress to the quarter-finals. As it finishes here, Flamengo 2, Bayern Munich 4.
Correa, Trubin to the rescue again. He spread his body so wide there. And the outstretched right arm denying Marc Cucurella.
Again, it's that strong right arm which keeps Cucurella out. Again, looking to go near post.
And Benfica get Angel Di Maria involved in this a little bit more. Antonio Silva. Herrero for Orsnes. I'll tell you what, Sanchez had come off his goal line there expecting a cross, and he very quickly had to retreat back to the goal line. So Cruzeiro fan there in the crowd. Such a huge presence of Brazilians at this FIFA Club World Cup tournament in the United States. Every city we've been in, we've seen a huge number of Brazilians proudly wearing their colours. More free kicks, more yellow cards. This time Fiorentino Luis. The angle is tight here, but Anatoly Trubin has erected a two-man wall nevertheless. One good delivery, one well-timed leap, and it could be a breakthrough. Reece James tries to catch him out, and he does! Trubin erected the wall, but he didn't get the right planning permission. Reece James gives Chelsea the lead in Charlotte in the last 16 of the Club World Cup. And this tight, cagey game finally gets the breakthrough.
Absolutely brilliant from Reece James to have the bravery to do that, and then the quality and the pace to pull it off. See it from the goalkeeper's angle, it has to be inch perfect. It absolutely is from Reece James. The quality he has in his right foot deceives Trubin.
Di Maria. Orsnes. Oh, he's done really well against Cucurella here. Orsnes pulls it back. Prestiani. He's fluffed the big moment. That could have been the equaliser for Benfica.
Brilliant work from Orsnes. Firstly, to get away from Cucurella, but there to have the calmness to pick out Prestiani.
Prestiani has managed to keep this alive here. Di Maria onto his right boot. He was trying to pull it back for Belotti. Benfica beginning to get chances now. Cucurella. Delap, look at the wide open space. Is he onside? Liam Delap around Trubin to find the back of the net, but it's not going to count. The offside flag is raised. Thomas Klanchnik, the assistant on the near side. We notice a bit of disgruntlement around the stadium here. Because of some impending bad weather, the referee has been advised to bring the players off the pitch and into the tunnel. Somewhat later than advertised.
I think he's looking for that foul, the ref buys it.
Di Maria's clutch of left boot, looking for Otamendi. This appeals for a handball. It came off the head of Otamendi. They're screaming that it was a handball by a defender. There's a yellow card immediately for the protests. And the video assistant referee is from Italy, Marco Di Bello. He'll be looking at the replays of this in the background. Benfica were adamant that there was a handball there. What drama, Andros. If Benfica are going to get a penalty here, this might just be worth the wait.
It's going to be a penalty, but from a footballer's perspective, when you jump, you have to jump with your arms. He's jumped from the ball, his arms are above his head. He's not even looking at the ball.
Referee just took a couple of glances. Let's have a listen. Benfica fans who didn't leave the stadium are quite overjoyed that they are still here to see this now. Handball, penalty. If Benfica lose, it's his final game for the club. He's leaving, he's gone back to Argentina, he's joining his boyhood team, Rosario Central. And a fourth penalty success against Chelsea for Angel Di Maria. And for Benfica, the 2-hour weather delay was certainly worth the wait. He is the master from the spot. He scored his last 10 penalties in a row, Angel Di Maria. He's now the tournament's top scorer, you know.
Kane has just to take a shot with his weaker foot from quite a distance, trusting his technique, that makes the goal. Because maybe if you are a different type of striker, you're on your weaker foot, you think, okay, where should I put the ball in? Where are my other teammates? But he knows he can score also from that distance, and with a bit of help, great finish.
At that point, it could have all gone very wrong for Flamengo, but we've said it a lot. The Brazilian sides have shown such spirit, such character in this tournament, and they did pull a goal back before half-time.
They did, and it's a brilliant strike, isn't it, from Gerson, just arrives into the box. You know, so like a rocket past Man United. People ask the question, what's Neuer doing? But it's actually a blink of an eye. It's past you. I've been in that position myself. You think, wow, can I get my hands up? You just can't. Kelly is so quick. It's so fast. You can see Neuer's reaction. It's just nothing much you can do. It's just the pure power from Gerson. It's a fantastic strike. You see in the half volley, and really it's a blur past Man United. And you think it's a lifeline for them then?
It's not like you stick up for a goalkeeper, Shay.
Well, yeah, you have to, don't you? Why not?
At that point, it looked like it was going to be an interesting second half, but then Flamengo conceded at pretty much the worst possible time, just before the half-time whistle went.
Yeah, when Flamengo starts to think back in the game, like to have a little bit more the ball, and then Bayern, they get it close. But one thing, like no one step on the ball. I think it's Eric Pulgar again, doesn't step on the ball and then leave it the guy from Bayern just to choice which side he's shooting the goal, and of course Horst try to go the other side, balls go another way. It's a brilliant goal. They scored in a perfect moment.
Yeah, it was the perfect moment, wasn't it, Rafa? This will have really changed the team talk for both managers.
Yeah, and Bayern was struggling a little bit in that spell. It was probably the best we saw from the Brazilians just before half-time. They created chances. Bayern looked a little bit unsure. You could see sometimes the gaps between midfield and defence were beginning to open up. But that game again cooled down things, and of course, I think what we might hear from companies saying, look, don't stop playing. You know, whenever we stop playing, we let them back in. Then that's when we put ourselves under pressure. If we just keep the intensity high, keep pressing, and then use our possession game to cool down the temperature of the game and to keep it more quiet, that's when we get on top. And whenever Bayern just faded a little bit, they were there. But in the end, Bayern didn't fade enough and were able to assert themselves every time at the right moment, just about to see us through.
Well, the first goal of the second half was always going to be important, and Kleberson, it went to Flamengo from the penalty spot.
Yeah, it's Flamengo go back in the second half, I think a little bit better in terms like to get away the pressure. Not start like so good, but they have a chance on a penalty here now. I think that's one like his jump, his turn, his face, and then the referee gives
no
a penalty
arguments
kick.
really,
yeah,
can he?
Yeah. And then Jorginho is like an expert on the penalty kick. He just like compose and finish it.
Yeah, in terms of if you get a penalty, there aren't too many players you'd rather have on your team.
No, he's very calm. He's very cool, and you're up against one of the best goalkeepers in world football, Manuel Neuer. He's a huge presence in the goal, but Jorginho didn't blink. He thought, I've got this. You know, big Flamengo crowd behind the goal as well. They were buzzing. 3-2, and you think, we got game on. Rafa was jumped off the sofa. He was getting a bit nervous at this point. But again, they sort of huffed and puffed after that. Didn't create too many clear-cut chances, but fantastic penalty from Jorginho.
And then the goal that really sealed it for Bayern was brilliant, wasn't it?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, you pay a lot of money for a centre-forward to score that kind of goal. You're a little bit under pressure. It's a game that doesn't allow you too many mistakes, and he just, not having had the most sort of impactful of games, is just there when it's necessary. The first touch to get it out of his feet is wonderful. He never looks up. He bends it into the corner without this is all one fluid motion. From not being involved, not having too many touches, but having the kind of precision killer touch that you need from a centre forward. It's what you want. It's what you
I think
need.
Vincent Kompany will be happy as well, similar to Kane's first goal. The press from Bayern Munich as well. They want it high up the pitch. That creates the chance, and of course Harry Kane does the rest. But again, they latch on to Flamengo trying to play out.